What's up, guys?
What it be?
How you guys doing today? Look, we have a podcast ever. That's what we have. He didn't say it, but I was waiting on him there to say it. We have a podcast ever today. We're gonna do it again. Don't worry. You'll get your shot. Okay, you'll get your shot. But look, here's the thing, guys. We have an interesting stream today. Okay, so Trump, he's had certain interactions that wouldn't be as favorably viewed by a certain country that, is already mentioned in the title, guys. Trump and Netanyahu are clearly not going to be seeing eye to eye on Trump's current interactions in the Middle East. And we're going to be talking about that today. We actually have a special guest here that has come on, with me before in certain episodes of other shows. But, we have a net right here. But, we got to pull out Yoo-Hoo too. Oh, hold on. Wait, that's not Yoo-Hoo. What's happening? Whoa. Well, that's what Trump said to Mr. Netanyahu when he started, making sure that there's going to be a ceasefire going on. He wants peace talks. So Trump, he wants, there to be, at least is what he's saying, there to be that peace between Gaza and Israel and, Ukraine and Russia. So, this is what Trump's doing in our stream too, guys. Honestly, he sent that to me today. He said, sir, you need to show this on stream. It's definitely gonna rustle some feathers with my boy BB. My boy BB, he hasn't been very kind to me. He says he's been a little too greedy. Okay. That's not a racial thing. I'm just saying he asked for a lot of money. We were very generous to him. Trump had actually said that just a few months back with the tariffs. He was like, we give them $4 billion and that's, very generous. That's very kind. He was saying like, I don't think we're going to lower the tariffs, on Israel either, because, frankly, that's a lot of money. And so, yeah, Trump, they're calling it Trump ditch Netanyahu. This is what's being said. Now, I don't know about all that for sure, right? Because, Israel has been saying their own things about this, like as far as like Palestine being recognized and all that. We're going to be getting into that, though. Some other stuff we're going to be talking about. Rapper DC the Don. I'd never heard about this guy till today. I did listen to one song he made, if you can call it that, prior to this, just because I wanted to see what he was all about. But he had sucker punched a white teenager, not just a guy. It was phrased as a guy in one of the posts I had seen. No, this kid was like 17 years old from what I was reading, in Portland, because the kid had told him something that had upset him as far as, maybe not having the best taste in his, or like the best love for his music. I should say that way. And so we're just going to take a look at that, but we're also going to take a look at some other cultured moments, if you will. There are plenty of cultured moments to be looking at in this stream, guys. There's so much culture to go around. And so, we're going to be taking a look at that. We're going to be taking some of a look at the Diddy story. Look, we have not been keeping up completely with this case or anything. I've really only kind of touched on myself, like just as far as the reading and all that of this, or like listening to about it. But we are going to take a look. We're going to see what's going on with that. We're going to investigate a bit. Maybe give some of our reaction to that. And we're going to take a look, because I think this is something that I remember this having gone out before, but there's people talking about it again. And we definitely need to cover this and explain it and sort of give our analysis. There's a guy who swiped 2 million times in 5 years on Tinder. But anyway, so, he only got one date out of that, so basically, is it over for bro? Seems like it. Bro might be cooked. We're going to find out why. We're going to find out what's happening. Is this the case for the average man? All this and more on the podcast.
Podcast ever.
The podcast ever. So, Mr. Greg, how's your week been?
It's been an eventful week. I can say that. It has been a week where a lot of events have taken place. Like within the 7 days, there have been several things that have happened within my experience that I've had the joy of experiencing. Yeah. One time, I I didn't know what to eat for dinner. So I was like, damn, bro, I could really go for a sandwich right now. But last time I went to my local fast food area, they told me they couldn't give me what I needed, which was a quarter pounder.
Oh yeah,
'Cause
this was the quarter pounder story.
well, actually, I probably should tell that story, but this is like an addendum to it. But basically, I ordered the quarter pounder. I was really hungry. I had a long day before me, and it was like 10 p.m., 11 p.m., something like that. And I'd ordered on the app for the quarter pounder. So I'd already went through technically. They just had to accept it. And when I pull up to the window and give them my code, they're like, oh yeah, we can't do quarter pounders because they're made to order. And that was very confusing to me because I ordered it. So they should make it made to order. Make the goddamn burger. They did not do that though. They told me basically, yeah, we can't do that. So I was like, all right, what's the next best thing from a quarter pounder on the menu? And I've had a regular McDonald's burger before. And let me tell you, that is not a good experience. Not in the slightest. It's not a neutral experience. It's not like
So,
a this could be
if I
better experience.
can, I was just gonna ask: is the McDouble just a double hamburger or cheeseburger?
Yeah.
Okay, so the thing about that is that the Peters on Twitter have been like, I've seen some people saying McDoubles instead of quarter pounders. I'm like, why do they want a McDouble?
I wouldn't be able to tell you because they taste like ass. I but anyway, um so I was thinking, okay, what's the next best thing? It's not a quarter pounder where they actually use like 100% beef, or at least at the very least, if it's not that, it's way higher quality. So I'm like, all right, you know what? Big Mac is probably where they put the most quality in after that. So let me get a Big Mac. And I got a Big Mac and it was like 80% lettuce. Well, let me be fair. It was like 80% lettuce and bread. That's it. And you get two little slivers of the tiniest shrunken patties ever that taste like dog shit. They taste awful. They taste disgusting. And I added no sauce too because I know it's full of seed oils. But god damn, I know why they put the sauce in there. There's nothing else that's giving it flavor. It's just lettuce and bread for fuck's sake. And
So
one.
here's the thing.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say that I'm looking at the McDouble here. Well, first of all, there's less protein in it. So I take it, obviously we knew this already. The patties have less volume, meaning they're less like, they less of the pound, being actually used here. But as far as the patty, it just says 100% pure USDA inspected beef. They use salt and black pepper. I don't know if they use black pepper in the quarter pounder. I didn't think so. But the thing I think about it is that there's less fat overall in the sandwich too. So I'm thinking that, obviously because it's like smaller meat, it's going to be less fat, of course. But I think also it might just be leaner. I don't know. But I don't know. They just put in the ingredients here that I'm looking at 100% beef patty. I mean, I feel like if I look at on their website too, double quarter pounder with cheese, it's just going to also say 100% beef patty. Well, that one says quarter pound. 100% beef patty. So, I don't know if it's any leaner, but it definitely is. There's more of the quarter pound patty.
I can definitely say I know a guy on the inside, and he says specifically for quarter pounders, they use different patties. So that would then,
yeah. So
like, insinuate that they use the same kind of patties for basically everything else.
In the whole sandwich of the McDouble, there's 20 grams of fat. In the quarter pounder, there's 42 grams of fat, the double quarter pounder. So, I mean, I would take it that the burger is probably half the amount as the quarter pound patty. So, I mean, maybe the determining factor isn't that it has less fat, but it's that they leave it out because the whole thing about quarter pounder being made to order is that they make it when you order it. The other sandwiches, they pre-make them.
Correct.
So I was thinking maybe it's possible that it's just the fact that they leave it out waiting for you to order it instead of making it when you order it.
I guess. I don't know why you'd want that though.
No, I wouldn't. I'm just saying I think that's why it tastes so bad. I don't know. I haven't tried it on. Whoa, I've tried a cheeseburger before and I said I didn't like it because they gave me that on accident. I didn't like it.
Dude, it's really bad. It's really bad. Like, it's impressive how bad it is. But
I ate it because I was hungry and it's like food that they gave me, but I was like, why did this have to be the food I got?
Yeah. it's just not a good experience overall. But basically, it would appear that even in the Big Mac, which for a while I considered to be like their main item that everybody cared about, besides like the chicken nuggets or whatever, everything else is just, including the Big Mac, pretty dog shit in terms of patty quality. So getting back to present, well, still past tense, but more recent past tense, I was hungry one night and I was like, okay, well, I can't go there to McDonald's because they're going to fuck me over with the quarter pounder because it's too late. So I was like, all right, let's see what Burger King does. And they had this deal on the app where you get like a free, like regular burger. And I was like, okay, hold on. This is not going to be enough for a meal, but this will be great for science. I can test whether the most basic burger from Burger King versus the most basic burger from McDonald's is good enough. Or, well, just compare how good they are, basically. And then I got like a regular Whopper with cheese and removed all the garbage from it, too. Mayo, lettuce, tomato, etc. But so I drive over there, get the stuff, sit down, eat the food. I start with the what do you call it, Whopper first, and that's all right. I think they have better quality patties in that regard because of the way they cook them, which is like flame grilled rather than on a regular grill. So it's got like a smoky flavor. It has a bit too much bread, but you know, whatever. Then I get to the regular burger, and that tastes pretty much the same, just smaller. So it's still good. So the conclusion here is, if you want a really cheap, basic ass burger, you're better off going to Burger King than you are to McDonald's, unless you're getting a quarter pounder. Like, that's the only thing of value on that menu.
Yeah, I mean, it's. Do you know if they cook it when you order it at Burger King?
I do not.
That may also be a difference there. I don't know. But I would not be ordering. Point being, any others. If they told me they were out of quarter pounders, I'd probably drive away.
I probably should have done that.
Yeah, I mean, I even mentioned, I think I mentioned this on the stream before. Like, I went to Starbucks one day and I asked, like, I said, I was like, do you guys have, like, does your cream have carrageenan in it? I just don't want any cream with carrageenan. And the lady was like, oh, it just, we just put our like sugar in the nitro cold brew, and then the regular one is just cream. And I was like, oh, but like, I'm asking about additives in there. She's like, yeah, we put, cream in the nitro cold brew and then sugar in the one with the sugar. I was like, waiting there, and some guy interrupts like from the back, like, I don't know, manager or something. He's like, yeah, and then he literally says the same thing she just told me. Literally just says the same exact thing. Oh, well, the nitro cold brew has just cream, and if you want to add sugar, we can add the sugar, but if you don't want the sugar, we can take out the sugar. I just left. I was like, okay, thank you, bye. I'm all right. I didn't even say thank you. I said, no, I'm good, I'm all right. And she's like, oh, okay.
How do they?
I just drove off. I went to Sprouts.
Understand that question. It seems like a very straightforward question.
I felt like, I could have understood the confusion the first time. That I get. But when I said an additive, I said in the cream. I said, like, I think I even mentioned on the label. I don't know. I recall saying something like that to try and clarify, but they just could not get it. I don't know what was going on. Maybe because they've never had this as a question. But I mean, obviously, like, people go for convenience these days. I mean, they don't expect it to be this bad for them, really, because if people knew how bad it was for them, they'd be like, no, actually, you guys are right, I'm not going to go. But regardless, people understand they're making some health trade-off. Usually it's a sort of misguided understanding that this is about calories or something like that. So they're like, oh, well, I'm just going to burn it off or something. But even so, it's like, I should still have some expectation that this isn't going to literally just be offing me as soon as I eat it.
At this point, whenever I go to any kind of restaurant, whether it's fast food or like a sit down or whatever, besides like the fat content and like what's in it, the next thing I'm looking at is how many calories it has. I'm looking for the thing with the most calories at this point. So yeah,
I need sustenance. That's why I'm going.
Exactly.
What do you mean? What do you mean it has too many calories? I'm hungry. That's why I'm going. That's why I'm here. I'm here to eat. What do you mean? The thing with the least calories? No, I want to go to food places to not eat. I want to go to food places to eat little as I can. That's the whole point, actually. Why didn't you just bring a snack with you? Bring some hamster food with you. I mean, you're gonna get a few calories. You're gonna get a few calories bringing around something with you, like rabbit treats or something, lettuce. Go bring lettuce with you. That has the least calories, most filling. Go carry around a bag of lettuce in your car. Yeah. So Trump and Israel. Okay. We have here an article from Reuters. I'm gonna just have my camera off for this article because I have to read it and I want to screen share. We're gonna talk about this. So this is sort of reviewing the pattern of policy that Trump has sort of shifted throughout the past week or so. And I mean, even so, like I mean, we've been receiving from our guy who posts like a lot of news articles this thing happening. Basically this pattern. Almost. So let me see. I just want to read off some of those headlines that he was sending in. Or some of the descriptions of those real quick before we actually start reading this. But some examples of that have been, let's see. So let me find some more relevant ones. Yeah, apparently the U.S. was willing to drop the demand that Hamas disarm to reach a comprehensive ceasefire deal in Gaza. Israel says recognition of Palestinian state will force quote unquote unilateral actions. Let's see. So Israel, this one's from AF Post. Israel Prime Minister Netanyahu stated, I think we will need to wean ourselves off American military aid during a closed-door session of Knesset's Foreign Affairs and Defense Committee. Let's see. And then, let's see. Let me find some more relevant ones to this because he posts a lot of different stuff. Trump to remove, and this is just more Middle East overall, Trump to remove U.S. sanctions on Syria in major policy shift. And then, yeah, those were the really relevant ones here. We're going to read some more from here. So this article is from Reuters. It's called Bypassed by Trump, Israel Dismayed but Silent. This is by James McKenzie. It was posted yesterday. So the summary is Trump's Middle East focus shifts to business Gulf deals. Prime Minister Netanyahu's right-wing government at odds with some U.S. policy shifts. U.S.-Israel relations strong, but diverging priorities evident, say observers. Jerusalem, May 14th, Reuters. Israel's right-wing government has maintained. So, I mean, I take it their right-wing is in meaning support of Zionism as opposed to left-wing, where that would be anti-Zionism.
Right.
Or opposed to it, at least. I don't know how opposed. But more opposition than the right wing, but has maintained a diplomatic silence this week as U.S. President Donald Trump fired off a blizzard of announcements that have shaken Israeli assumptions about their country's standing with its most important ally. Trump's decision to bypass Israel during his current visit to the Middle East had already been seen as a marker. Let's see. So, yeah, okay, I guess bypass Israel. I did see he was talking in Saudi Arabia and he didn't mention Israel. I don't know if it just means like, he just didn't give him a visit either. That's kind of what I'm getting from this. Been seen as a marker of his administration's increased focus on lucrative business deals with wealthy Gulf countries, including Qatar, which Israeli officials have long accused of helping Hamas. Even before the trip began, Israel was on edge over U.S. talks with its arch enemy, Iran. Or Iran. I don't know how, proper people say it. I just know Iran is the way it's said a lot of the time. And over Trump's decision to stop. You said what?
You ran so far away.
And over Trump's decision to stop bombing the Houthis in Yemen, regardless of the Iranian-backed group's determination to keep up its own missile strikes against Israel. Let's see. Israeli officials were then forced to stand by and watch as the United States, forced to stand by and watch. Wow, that is like dramatic phrasing. As the United States negotiated to reach a deal with the Palestinian militant group Hamas to bring home Eden Alexander, the last surviving American hostage in Gaza. You're forced to watch as the U.S. brings back a surviving hostage. That really just seems, I don't know, man. But anyway. Since then, they have had to listen as Trump declared an end to sanctions on Syria and called for a normalization of relations with the new government in Damascus, which Israel regards as a barely disguised jihadist regime. Even as Trump spoke in Riyadh. Sorry, that was a bad pronunciation of that. Riyadh on Tuesday. claiming credit for the ceasefire agreement with the Houthis. Israel media noted that warning sirens were sounding in areas across Israel, including Jerusalem and Tel Aviv, as a missile from Yemen headed towards them. Trump himself brushed off any suggestion of a break with Israel. So Trump is denying that, this is some sort of cutting of ties, telling reporters accompanying him in the Gulf that his visit would ultimately benefit a country that has so far viewed him as one of its staunchest supporters. So he's saying, his perspective is this is a good thing for Israel. So he says, this is a good thing for Israel, having a relationship with them. That's a terrible Trump impression. Let me try that again. This is a good thing for Israel, having a relation with, like I have with these countries, Middle Eastern countries, essentially all of them, he said. Israel Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has so far made no comment beyond thanking Trump for helping with the release of Alexander. Let me take a hit off my orange juice over here. Clear my mouth a bit. Give me a little more pause, lubricated.
The Oracle says hello.
All right, let's see that. Hold on. Haha, finally caught the live stream. How's it going? It's going good, man. We're just reading about Trump and sort of, his overriding of Israel when it comes to his foreign policy decisions. But Trump over here, like I was saying, was claiming that this is good for Israel, having a relationship like I have with these countries, Middle Eastern countries, essentially all of them, he said. So basically, he views it as if he's on good standing with them, that there's not going to be as many problems for Israel, is how he's framing it here. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has so far made no comment beyond thanking Trump for helping with the release of Alexander. So I don't understand why this reporter said Israel was forced to watch or stand by and watch as this, hostage was that phrasing is really bothering me there. But anyway, so but he has faced widespread public perception that Israel, already under international pressure over the Gaza war, which has stymied its own hopes of normalizing relations with Saudi Arabia, has been left behind. The Middle East is in the process of being reshaped in front of our very eyes through a series of agreements and meetings, while Israel has remained, in the best case scenario, an observer on the sidelines, wrote Yoav Lemore, a commentator in the right-leaning Israel Hayom newspaper. So Israel seems to, especially the right side, as they call it, seems to be very upset that Trump is doing these things, essentially going around Israel, not making these decisions with their active consideration and guidance. So basically, Trump doing this independent of Israel, or at least I guess that's what we're seeing here, that they have no sort of say in it, is something that is upsetting to them, because they would like more of a say in how Trump operates here. Diverging priorities. Netanyahu, I need to zoom in a bit. It's very zoomed out, and it's hurting us a little bit here. Hold on. There we go. It looks better for the people, right? Let's see. So the Oracle says, what do you all think about the situation? I don't know too much about this. It seemed like, there was some sort of issue with Trump and Netanyahu as far as how this was being framed a lot, just like, and there definitely seems to be on that end. Just as far as like face value, it seems like Netanyahu isn't too much of a fan of what's going on. But overall, I don't really think the U.S. is like going to cut ties or something. I don't really think we're seeing any of that here. Definitely, it could be, potentially that the U.S. perhaps might over time shift its focus, to where the profit is, of course. So if those deals are lucrative, whatever Trump's doing, like he's going to definitely not just go like, hey, Israel, what should I do here? He's probably going to start doing whatever the U.S. sees is profitable for them. So it's all about that, really, at the end of the day, I guess. What do you think, Greg?
So when you say profit, you mean PROFIT, not PROPHET.
Oh, well, if Trump was about profit, I don't know, man. Like, what do you think he would actually be doing?
Probably what he's doing now, to be honest.
Yeah, he wouldn't. Well, would he be trying to rebuild the temple or no?
I actually don't know. I
Because if
meant
he's
in
about
regards
profit,
to like,
it's which profit, we're talking about here.
well, there's only one prophet in the area that's really, well, I mean, I get, okay. I was talking about the holy prophet. Blessed be, fuck, what's his name? Blessed be upon him. Peace be upon him.
Peace
What
be
was his
upon him.
name? Yeah, that's the one.
Muhammad.
Yeah, that one.
Well, no, I was
That took
thinking,
me
is it
way
the
too long.
is it they what Trump is working for the second coming of Christ, or for the Messiah that a third of Israel wants back, or to come. I guess not back, but here in the first place.
Um, you're gonna move past that. Gonna move right past that. Uh,
I don't
but
know. I
yeah,
don't. We're trying to figure out which side Trump would be on in this situation. All right, let's see. The Oracle says, do you think we are better off cutting most of our support of Israel? Yeah, the thing about that is, the thing about that is the U.S. has Israel as its stated greatest ally. So I wouldn't want to say anything that that really offends the U.S. right now. I'm just gonna let the U.S. do what it does. Right now, I'm just gonna that's me personally. No, but
um,
I mean, like, if we're just talking about foreign aid in general, I mean, there's the argument that, like, there is no. This was even stated like in an argument that I think the person saying this was Matt Walsh. He was talking to the Daily Wire, and he's like, I don't think anybody in America owes allegiance to any foreign country, any kind, any country. And so, your priority should be, like, at home. I think that's a fine statement to make.
yeah, I was just gonna say, like, from an economic standpoint, it probably would be better if we didn't do that. Like, it doesn't really matter which country it is. It's just kind of like, I mean, just based on the idea that you're paying taxes, and then whichever country it is, it doesn't really matter if it's Israel or like Saudi Arabia or whatever. They're getting supported regardless of your consent to that. So, I mean, that alone is kind of an issue.
And I mean,
But
I don't think even like those who are staunchly like supporting, the U.S. Israel relation, where they're the greatest ally and this is essential to have in the Middle East. I mean, I don't even think those people would necessarily deny that this is like basically a proxy for the U.S. to have influence over there. So, I mean, if
yeah,
you're opposed to U.S. influence in the Middle East, then I mean, the logical conclusion would be U.S. not giving foreign aid even to Israel.
yeah, and I mean, to be fair, we've been doing that for a while with a bunch of countries, which just ends up creating a mess every single time. So I mean, just based on like, I don't even want to say humanitarian because that has a lot of baggage with it, but just, people not dying when they could have like not died. Yeah, probably best we don't do that.
I was just thinking about this, like, this whole thing about the US like deporting people when they have like pro-Palestinian sentiments and all that, like, in protests or whatever have you. I was just talking with, like, this was unrelated to this, but I was talking with some people yesterday because I was like out at a university, like, discussing other stuff. And even though it was like not even political of an issue, like there were people from, like, who were like from other countries that were like students, like what do they call them? Like international students.
Yeah,
Where because if I came up with a word, it would probably not be as PC. But
yeah, yeah,
but the point being, point being is that they were expressing concern about that same thing. Where, even though they weren't even talking about something political, like they thought, like, hey, if I even speak my mind, I may like get kicked out of here about anything. Like, not even political, anything. Like, I can't really be on YouTube making any statements. Like, I don't know if I really want to be doing that. So, like, uh, there there's a lot of issues here, even beyond just the like baseline sort of like, should the US be sending money? I mean, just the outright, like, making it like such a priority to send people out of the country simply for giving an opinion on this same issue that's being discussed right now. I think that alone is just it who should support that? I don't think that should be something that people support. Like that sentiment that people should just get kicked out for this. Like, I mean, be it as it may, whatever your opinions are on like immigration and stuff, what have you. I mean, these people are here through the legal process, and like, for the US government to be saying, oh, well, here's why we're going to kick you out, is clearly only about their speech. And so they're basically having rights taken away compared to what those are given to like, other international students or immigrants, whatever. My point being is that the US gives people this immigration status as, I guess, I mean, I don't know if you call it right privilege, but how they're defining it. But the point being is that when they strip this from only those people, this is an issue of not allowing speech to be free.
Right. It's just kind of weird how it's like that specific thing. Like, because even if you're going to go down the route of people should be deported, you would think there'd be better reasons besides they have an opinion that the administration doesn't like for whatever reason.
Mm-hmm.
Not saying not saying I'm for or against either. Just like, if you are going down that route, you would think there'd be more pressing issues.
And even like, I think we can even just tie this back to a more general issue that'll kind of get us a little bit away from being too specific here, but just in the sense of, relating this to the view that like hate speech should be regulated, whatever you would define that as, because there's no like real definition for it. I mean, this is something that up until now the Supreme Court has even agreed with, that there's no like definition of what this is. And so, basically what we're seeing is that if the US government can define hate speech as, for example, being against a certain country, who knows, whatever, and say, well, that's, like anti whatever, they can basically define hate speech without actually, defining it, essentially, having like a law that punishes it without necessarily putting into law that this is hate speech. And what you're having here is that essentially there already is an enforcement of hate speech laws already, but just not against like US citizens at the moment. But what does that even like, entail when it comes to US citizens? I mean, the government clearly is already exercising that. So what's the likelihood that they don't do anything against citizens, right? I mean, like, I don't know, like, I mean, if I were betting, I would say it's possible that they would just say, well, I mean, if we're kicking out people for saying these things and people here are saying it and we see it as such a problem, we might have to do something about it here. And I think even our friend who has posted some like news articles, he had posted an article about the DOJ saying, and I think this had more to do with like Trump administration, like wanting to go after people in other, like the former administration for what they've done. But, again, this could be applied to citizens too. The headline was DOJ weaponization group will shame individuals it can't charge with crimes. New head says, like the head of the DOJ. So, I mean, if the Department of Justice, who last administration, actually, we're just going after parents as well that were in school board meetings talking about what they don't like seeing in schools. I mean, what's the likelihood that they say, well, but when it comes to this issue, we're going to be civil when it comes to this issue with U.S. citizens. We're going to let them speak their mind whenever they want, however they want, as long as it isn't a literal call for violence. We're not going to do anything about it. I doubt that this is just going to be something that they continue doing. I mean, in the near future.
If anything, there's already a precedent set that you can just do it and get away with it. So why would they not just weaponize that for whatever goals they have on the other side of the aisle?
Let's see. So the Oracle says, fair. Again, I'm not too knowledgeable, but it sounds like you guys have a pretty level-headed opinion. I mean, we're just pro being able to talk how you want to talk when it comes to conversations, because how else are we ever going to have like open dialogue about things? I mean, if things are getting censored just from saying, like, you can't just say things, then we clearly have a problem, because we're not even talking about like instances where, obviously people had their problems with like what was being shown in public schools. I did too, like in some of these books, like the material, when it came to like literal, like sexual acts being displayed. That's a different issue. I mean, this is something that's being exposed to children, first of all. But also like, it's not really about literally just having a discussion. It's propaganda. So, I mean, we're talking about different things here. But the Oracle says hate speech should not be banned. It just sets a precedent that's pretty damning for the future. It does. It really does. So we're just going to read a little bit more here, but basically Netanyahu, apparently he's on, it says currently on trial for corruption charges. Is that in Israel? I hadn't read about that.
Yeah, I heard about this a while ago. I forgot what the exact specifics were about it, but he was on trial for a while, and I think, I think he avoided it for somehow, like he's like prolonged it or something like that because of the state of emergency. I think it was with the October 7th thing. So because of the state of emergency, he kind of just is like, it's like in the background for right
now. Wow, that's super convenient.
It is very convenient, I gotta say.
Well, the thing is that's a thing too. Like governments, in general, will seize any opportunity when there's a crisis. And as we've seen in not even there, but here as well in a certain year that wasn't too long ago. I mean, within the past 5 years, maybe, governments take opportunities when there's a crisis to take as much power as they can. I mean, even the political figures will do it to continue taking office. I mean, if you even want to look at like FDR, I mean, this is how they do it. And so October 7th is really no different when it comes to a crisis that the government can say, this is something that, we need to actually have our focus on this. Forget about all that other stuff you guys were complaining about. Don't you want to survive? And they make it to be like everybody's in danger now. Like this is a problem for every single person as equally as it is for the government.
Yes.
So basically, he made no secret of his preference for Trump over the previous White House incumbent, Joe Biden, who held back some heavy munitions deliveries and imposed sanctions on a number of violent Israeli settlers. So it seemed as if, there were some policies Netanyahu wasn't a fan of when it came to Biden. So Netanyahu faces pressure from both religious nationalist hardliners in his government who have insisted on continuing the war in Gaza until the final defeat of Hamas, and an Israeli public increasingly tired of a conflict that has lasted more than 18 months. And, obviously, like, people, like, unless they're heavily propagandized, and even so, like, unless they can continue to be propagandized and believe it, are not a fan of the government going to war. A shocker. But, so far he has sided with the hardliners. But the events of the past 2 weeks suggest there was a clear divergence of priorities, and the special treatment from U.S. administrations that has normally been enjoyed by Israel may not apply, said Jonathan Panikoff, former deputy U.S. National Intelligence Officer for the Middle East. And so his quote was, "Trump is clearly determined to move ahead with a transactional trade and investment-focused agenda." Let's see. So if the traditional political or security matters that the U.S. and Israel have always historically coordinated on closely don't align well with Trump's priorities, he's going to go forward with them anyways. Let's see. So yeah, I mean, Trump is still like saying the U.S.-Israeli relations are strong. But apparently administration officials for the Trump administration have privately expressed frustration with Netanyahu as the president seeks to fulfill his campaign promises to quickly end the wars in Gaza and Ukraine. So, I mean, since Netanyahu's siding with the people that are saying, no, we want the complete defeat of Gaza, but or Palestine or whatever, Trump is saying, well, no, or at least his administration is saying, no, we want, ceasefire. We want, an end to these wars. At least, this is what we're hearing. I guess it looks better on Trump if this ends too. So, I mean, that would be an incentive alone. But no, I mean, they're upset, or at least Netanyahu included is making them upset about this. So let's see. Yeah, I mean, there's just a bunch of stuff about like here where they're just continuing to say like this is how Trump is still friendly to Israel and stuff. So I mean, we're not really seeing like an actual antagonism from Trump toward Israel. We are seeing what they would probably consider that, which is just not including them in these decisions, like I've been saying. So obviously, this is different than prior, where I mean, the literal insinuation from this would be that they had more say in decisions made by the U.S. In the Middle East. I'm just saying. Let's see. So an Israeli team has been dispatched to Doha to join ceasefire talks coordinated by Trump's special envoy, Steve Witkoff, but Israeli forces have stepped up strikes in Gaza, killing dozens of Palestinians on Wednesday. Netanyahu himself signaled Israel, which earlier this month announced plans for an intensified campaign in Gaza, was sticking its war aims, including dismantling Hamas as a military and governing power. And so, I mean, he said that Israel will not stop and will not surrender. So, I mean, even if Trump reaches some sort of agreement where he gets Hamas to say, okay, you know what, we'll stop right now. Israel is just apparently probably not going to stop. Thoughts? I'm getting a black screen from you now instead of your profile.
Yeah, I don't know what's happening, dude.
Interesting.
I'm actually kind of concerned.
Okay.
It says my camera's off too. So I don't know why my wait.
Well, oh.
Wait.
So what I did, it says hide camera, keep audio. I tried doing that, but it took you off, like, you know, the screen. Oh, I can just come back on. I don't even know why I didn't do that yet. Okay. So I mean, there was a YouTube video I was seeing. The thumbnail is the Trump BB bromance over is the thumbnail there. Oh, okay. We're refreshed. I'm seeing a thumbnail where it says, is the Trump BB bromance over?
Was it a bromance? Oh, did you mention the oh, go ahead with that. I'm coming through, right?
Mr. Oracle says, what do you think the solution is? No, I can hear you.
Okay, cool.
What do you think the solution is? It's a great question. You know, so like I said, you know, just not throwing this financial backing is something that very well, you know, would be a better outcome as far as us not being involved in general in this situation, and sort of things just, you know, working out without the US just pushing a certain side, or really even giving funds at all to push either side of this. And so, I mean, honestly, you know, the US just stay out of it, I guess is the solution. I mean, if we're talking about like the Israel Gaza conflict, clearly this is a problem that people in Palestine are dying. I mean, that's just pretty clear. And I mean, the fact that there had been targets like, you know, against, or it had been, they were saying it was like, this is where Hamas is hiding, and they were like hiding in hospitals or with families and stuff. And then Israel was still going for it. Was clearly a problem because, you know, they're still killing innocent civilians in the process. And, you know, there are people that claim there are no innocent people there, which is kind of crazy if you include the babies too. But, and I even have seen videos where they're like, oh, well, the babies grow up to be them. So, you know, that's the problem. That's dark. That's pretty dark.
Argument.
So, yeah, but basically, whatever leads to there being no loss of innocent life is the best solution. And I mean, clearly there's an antagonist in this situation. Israel will point to October 7th. Netanyahu will point to October 7th as, you know, a starting point, but there has clearly been a large history here where, not to say I'm justifying any actions going on here or violence at all, but it's just like, you know, they're really doing a lot to not prevent what's happening. You know, not just that. I don't mean like like, you know, attack. I'm just saying like, you know, conflict in general.
Yeah. I think, you know, it might not solve the problem, but it definitely would de-escalate the problem if, you know, countries that aren't involved remain uninvolved.
Yeah. But I mean, there's like, this is definitely a sensitive topic if you couldn't tell by now. So it's kind of hard to give like, you know, precise, exact, like, I guess like outlines of what's happening, even like 100%. Like, you know, we can obviously talk a lot about what's happening, but just sort of like giving commentary on that is pretty difficult. And then even giving opinions on what exactly, like, I mean, we kind of gave a general one, but I guess just like exactly what kind of funding should stop and where is kind of things we have to kind of say very vaguely.
Yes.
So yeah, that is just how we kind of, and in general probably. But we're going to talk about some cultured moments of the week. This is what I want to bring up next on here. So, I mean, if you do have any more questions about this situation, I mean, feel free to ask and we can take a look. But we're gonna talk about cultured moments of the week. First of all, there was this rapper. Like I said, I haven't heard of the guy before. DC the Don sucker punched a white teenager, 17-year-old guy, from what I was seeing, in Portland, for saying, "You're no Travis Scott." So let me pull that up. Apparently, and I mean, I'm just saying, I've listened to the music, at least one song. I've listened to one song. You said what?
Yeah, my signal's screwed. But anyway, what I was going to say is, depending on your thoughts on Travis Scott, that could be an insult or it could be a compliment.
Well, usually when you say you're no X, like, you're no Travis Scott, you mean like that person is not as good.
Well, I could just as easily go up and say, hey, Travis Scott, you're better, or something like that.
But usually it's used the other way. That's typically how it's used. But anyway,
I'm trying to say
we're just going to watch this clip right here. That was it. He said, "You're no Travis," and the guy decks him. He sucker punches him. And look, I've listened to the guy's music, at least one song. It was called God Level. I listened to the guy's song. It does sound like a sort of heavily influenced Travis Scott song. Like, it really is like the auto tune, the way he's like saying things, like, even the instrumentation, like it sounds like I'm listening to Travis Scott, but not exactly, not quite, so I'm just saying, it's not that you can't take inspiration from somebody, but I mean, if the kid thinks that you're just kind of taking a little bit too much of inspiration, not really being original, not really having something unique, that's a fair criticism. I mean, if he thinks that, and it sounds like that to me too, if a lot of people can generally say, yeah, you sound a lot like them, maybe, it's time to find your own sound. So we have the Oracle saying, LMAO, fragile ego moment. But then again, a lot of rappers are insecure and weak men. Well, there's something about rappers, man. Yeah, they're all like aggressive people, and they're always just starting fights, dude.
They do tend to have a certain attraction to using their fists over their words when in confrontations. I've noticed that.
I mean, you would think since they like rapping so much, they would use their words.
Right.
No.
You would think they would do like a diss track or something like that, maybe, or like a stuff.
Yeah, at most. And I mean, even so, you would think that, with their poetic ability and their writing ability, they would just be able to talk things out with people in a civilized manner. But I mean, these rappers, man, they just go straight for the violence. It's crazy.
Yeah, the rappers.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. These people, I mean, they're targeting young people. Their fans are young. And I mean, a lot of the times their fans are young white guys. I mean, that is who a lot of these days is listening to rap. And so, I mean, one can say when they are fighting these guys, that it's almost as if they're targeting young white guys. I don't know, but let's see. So the Oracle says, I'll say this though, you can talk shit, but you have to take the consequences when it comes. Doesn't mean I think it's okay to punch people. It's just, you got to be aware of the people you are talking to. I mean, well, that's a fair point. That, I mean, you kind of have to know who's going to be punching you, and it's going to be rappers. I mean, come on, be careful around rappers. Don't say stuff like that around rappers, because you are going to get punched. But when it comes to like, as the Boondocks, has, where it's like the moment, and the guy comes in at the end, the white guy, and he's like, he's about to fight the guy, but then he's like, wait a minute, I'm white. I mean, basically, if you are talking to a guy like that who isn't going to fight you over something, I mean, you can obviously say more and speak your mind more, but there are people you shouldn't speak your mind as much around, because it's just going to lead to the consequences here. But that doesn't mean that the consequences are just, and it doesn't mean that, a rational person is in charge of enforcing these consequences. Because, people, the thing about people is that they like, whenever they see stuff like this, you know, not this specifically, but just other instances where rappers are antagonized. You know, basically, and for no good reason, it would seem. But but when there are confrontations in which there is a violent person on one end and a non-violent person on the other, but may say some inflammatory stuff, when that non-violent person who's inflammatory gets punched by the aggressive person, by the rapper, you know, people start saying, well, freedom of speech doesn't mean freedom of consequences. Well, what that means is that you know, like, what you're saying here, it's not just some sort of nonviolent action where it's like, hey man, I don't like what you're saying, I'm not going to hang out with you. Or, you know, man, I'm not too much of a fan of what you're saying here. I don't think this is funny, or I don't think, you know, you're a good person, whatever have you. I'm just not going to associate with you in any capacity. Those are different things than, oh, well, you deserve to get your nights or your lights knocked out, right? I mean, that's an aggressive action. It's criminal. I mean, literally, it's criminal because that person has not done anything aggressive toward you. There is no self-defense in punching somebody over words, you know, and then people act like that is just as valid of a consequence. It's not. You must have been raised by rappers if you thought this is right. I mean, seriously. So the Oracle says, I wish they'd just kiss you instead of punching you. Well, I don't know, man. I don't know. What would you rather take, Greg?
Well, if we're assuming the rappers are male, I think I probably would just take the punch over the.
I mean, imagine a female rapper. You know, I wouldn't want one of those.
I don't think I would want that either. Now that I think about it. Yeah.
You want Glow Red?
Yeah.
You want Sexy Red kissing?
You had to pick that one, didn't you?
The first one, yeah. Well, but Sexy Red is a great example too. I mean,
yeah, I don't think I'd pursue relations with that one. I think that would be inadvisable.
So we're gonna watch a guy cover this situation because I just found it on YouTube and I thought it was funny. So I'm gonna pull that video up. Hold on.
All right.
Just gotta pull up that YouTube video. Hopefully I don't get an ad. I've been getting a lot of ads.
I was also gonna say,
I don't have an ad blocker. Well, actually,
they say
I do have an ad blocker plugin. It's just, it doesn't block YouTube ads. I guess it's enough
of consequence. They're kind of treating it like a cause and effect thing, as if, for example, the punch is like a necessary effect of the cause of you saying something negative towards them, which it's true you should be able to, you know, expect whether or not it's coming based on the kind of person you're talking to. But at the same time, it's not, that person can still choose not to do that. Like, the consequence could just be, oh, I'm sorry, I'm afraid, I didn't know you felt that way, let me talk about it, instead of just throwing a punch. So that's,
yeah, like, I mean, even if you were just like telling him, like, come on, man, don't come to my show and disrespect me like that. Like, you know, why'd you even buy a ticket if you're going to come here and just say that? Like, I felt like that would have been even better of a reaction. I mean, obviously saying anything would have been a better reaction, but I just mean it would have been like, you know, not only more civil, but just still accomplishing what you wanted to accomplish with, like, kind of like giving this guy at least some shit for, you know, just coming to you with this.
Right.
It looks like I was losing some connection there. Did you hear me?
I did not.
Oh, well, I was saying that, you know, did you get the whole, like, you missed the whole thing?
I heard up until, oh, this would be a better response, basically.
Oh, yeah, no, I mean, like, you know, obviously anything's a better response than like fighting somebody over this, you know, but I'm just saying, like, it would have at least been better at, you know, not only de-escalating, but kind of, you know, if his goal was to put the guy to shame in some manner, you know, not just taking the disrespect, at least saying something like that, like, hey man, don't come to my show with this. Like, what are you even buying tickets for? Like, what's your problem? Like, I don't know, something like that. Like, you could just go home if you don't like it, bro. Like, even that, like, just being a little dismissive of it is way better, because I mean, at that point, you're just kind of like, bro, like, you did all this for nothing, you know? Yeah. And there just are so many other ways he could have handled it. Let's see. So Mr. Oracle says I'm partially rapper, so maybe that's why I'm okay with this. Well, you know, I would say de-rapper yourself. Let's see. He says, hell not sexy red, Playboy Cardi. Oh my god, bro. That's crazy. Yeah. Playboy Cardi's not even female. They thought I was gay.
Wait, is that him?
Okay, let's yeah.
I'm not well versed in the rapper lore.
But look, I'm gonna show it right now. This video.
The Dragon Ball, fucking, what was it called? Like instant transmission or some shit.
I've also not seen Dragon Ball, so I can't tell you.
And that's why I decided to do this today. So we just trying this out. But we kind of talked about on Twitch already. But like, have y'all been on recently? He been acting.
Have y'all seen what DC? He's like saying
like a crash out, bro. It's Milwaukee hood, not like hood, but like it's Milwaukee, like because he's from Milwaukee, ain't he? I don't know who turned him into Batman recently. But like
that was pretty good.
He been wanting to smoke with any and everybody in DC. If you seeing this, which you probably don't, I don't want to smoke. At the end of the day, you can't hit with glasses anyway. You feel me? So if you didn't see it already, YouTube, please don't keep showing this. But look,
we got a new angle like it was 9/11.
I don't know if y'all saw that, but he threw a second punch. He wasn't done after the first. After the first connect, he said, "Let me get one more." Oh my gosh! And he had the mic in his hand, bro.
Why didn't he just say that before he did it? You already punched him. I mean, you already got the consequence that you wanted him to get. You know, you're saying, or I'll smack the shit out of you. So what? You already punched him in the face. I don't understand what else there is to do at that point. I mean, unless he's like, oh, I'll put a cap in your ass. You know, you'll turn into Swiss cheese. You know, then that's, you know, then you're escalating it. But I mean, at least he didn't do that. I mean, that's a good thing.
Realistically, though,
You said what?
It's a good thing. It is indeed a good
thing. Oh, no, it is. It is. I mean, you know, because it could have gone a lot worse.
Me being like not 6'7", or y'all go. Imagine you try to fight back and you just lose anyway. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. I don't know. Would y'all fight back? He's 6'7", by the way. Markel, we already know. I'm already know you fighting back, gang. Your name is Markel. You know what I'm saying? Like, if your name is Markel, you better fight back. And then on top of that, right? Y'all won't believe who he been arguing with on Twitter. I mean,
yeah, I don't really care about that. You know, I don't know unless there's something really funny here, but unless it's like a ridiculous person he's fighting with.
Clear as BK. He just stayed in the opinion. It's his Twitter. That's what it's up for. DC responded. They both up. No need for this incel. Called him an incel. An incel.
Bro, we have rappers calling people incel now.
Was crazy. He said, I got a rapper mad over a tweet, which is crazy. Why was
he so made some song called Gay or something? Let's see. Hopped in the booth and made a banger called Gay on Playboy Max's stream. What does this have to do with, bro?
That's what it's for. On top of that, right? Y'all won't believe who he been arguing with. Amen. I'm not gonna lie, respectfully, bro. He's putting his foot through your chest, gang. So Duty, you know what I'm saying? If you know me, you definitely know Duty. He reacted to
Duty. Whoa.
The BK thing. Just
you know what I just learned? Like just like a week ago, there was a thing where some like chick was saying like, well, I guess there was like some tweet. It's like, what's the pettiest thing you've ever broken up with a guy for? And there was some like chick, you know, of rapper descent. And she was like, oh, when a guy said like made boo-boo in my house and then try to hop back in the bed with me. I was like, what's boo-boo? And I look it up on Urban Dictionary. It says they call like poop that. Like instead of doo-doo, they call it boo-boo. Like you make boo-boo.
What?
Yeah, no, it's actually more popular than I had thought. Like, you know, rappers are calling poop boo-boo. That female rapper called Poop Boo Boo.
That's weird.
I'm just saying she was of rapper descent. I'm not saying she's necessarily one, but and so the thing, yeah, it is weird, but like it kind of goes with what we were talking about, like with whenever we make those impressions, how like we say there's like barely any consonant sounds and it's like mostly vowels. Like you're taking doo doo and you're turning it into boo boo. So you're actually like kind of making it less of a harsh sort of or like I guess crisp sound. You're sort of like, oh man, I took a boo boo the other day.
That's true.
Oh man, I be taking boo boo. You know what I'm saying? I be taking that boo boo, man. I mean, I go on the bathroom, man. I'm making boo boo, bro.
The Oracle can confirm it's real, apparently.
Sir, he threw a second punch at the white guy trying to catch a vibe. Yeah, boo boo is real. You've heard of boo boo? Like, you've used it? I don't know, man. I just don't understand why you would have to go through all that. Like, where did that come from? It seems like you're taking extra steps to just like rapperify it. You're trying to make it more like, like baby speak almost. I don't understand what the point of that is. A guy took a dump at my house is even like better to just say. It's simple. It's like, why do you have to? It seems like it's actually more work to say boo boo than dump. It took a dump, took a boo boo. I don't know, man.
Yeah, boo boo is definitely confusing me. I've
like,
never heard that before. Is that?
I mean, I can. I don't know, but I think it was from years ago. The one that I had seen. So you're from the South. You usually say shit, so you have said it. But like the thing is, it not only does it seem like a version that maybe if you're trying to be less crass, you would use like something like poop or like poo poo. I don't know, like when you're talking to kids though, like so it seems like almost like an infantilization of it rather than necessarily just making it less crass. And that's kind of like the weird part about it. It's like, why would you want to sound like you're a kid talking like that?
Whenever I hear anything that is like the same word twice, like repeated like that, I do think of it as like a word I would use as a kid.
Yeah,
that's accurate.
Right. So I mean, it's like, I don't know, man. I can't even say took a shit. I mean, if you don't want to say that, if that's too harsh, I mean, I guess you could say like, I don't know, man. Like took a poop. Like I just don't know why we have to change up the word. Like it was already a thing. Took a number 2. You could call it number 2. I don't know.
Had a movement. If you want,
yeah,
real class.
BM. BM is already a thing. But yeah,
he was all like Molly clears BK. He just saying an opinion. It's his Twitter. That's what it's up for. DC responded. They both tough. No need for this incel.
Clears. So he's saying, bro, I can't even understand this lore because I'm not understanding. I'm trying to understand what they even mean by this shit, bro. Like it seems like there's so many like self-references that you lose the meaning because they never like explain it in full anymore. It's like 2 words at a time and you're like, what? Because like this says like BK the Ruler hopped in the booth and made a banger called Gay on Playboy Max's stream. Okay, so we can understand that one of them is Playboy Max and one of them is BK the Ruler, at least. And we can understand the rest of that from that. Okay, so I don't even know who these people are, but this person says Molly clears. I don't know who Molly is. I know what clearing means just because I have the context, which means like it's way better, so good that like, there's no comparison. But who is Molly? And then what does this DC the Don have to do with this? I don't understand. I don't know who Molly. Like the Molly part definitely loses me. Maybe. And also, why are they making something called Gay?
Maybe he's just saying he would prefer to be on Molly.
Maybe you're right. Why didn't I even think I was thinking it had to be some guy's name, because it's always some guy just named this stuff like this or like some song.
I remember there was a song back in the day where the intro was just, I'm looking for someone named Molly. And they kept going like that for a bit. And then it turned into a rap song.
Was it like, a confused guy, like, like scrambling, like, I'm looking for somebody named Molly. Where's Molly? Where's Molly?
No, it was actually like some like computer generated female voice. This was back in like, I'll say like the 2010s, early 2010s. So like a Siri type voice. And it's like, I am looking for someone named Molly. Who can show me where someone like that? And it just keeps going. And then at the end, it's like, I'm looking for someone named Molly. And it just keeps repeating like that until it goes into like the beat drop.
So the Oracle here says, I'm gonna be 100%. I'm sad that a lot of the youth in my communities have kind of turned into the pseudo ghetto culture. A lot of them are from suburban areas. It's okay to be soft.
I'm assuming by soft he means like just not.
I would even think like soft as in like, I mean, I don't know if he means it like that, but at least like not wanting to start a fight all the time over meaningless stuff, or like literally like, I mean, he's saying pseudo ghetto culture, but in like real ghetto culture, like legit ghetto culture, it just comes down to killing people over this kind of stuff. Like you have some sort of beef and you kill somebody over a rap song, or like, I mean, for less reasons than that, you kill people. So yeah, it is okay to not have to literally like express, your anger through physical violence every time you have anger.
Yeah, it's definitely an issue with coping with your emotions there. And definitely not something you should be spreading, even if it is quote unquote part of the culture.
Yeah. Or even glorification of it. Yeah, you're right. Like, you're making songs where it's like, that's what you're praising. But then, Kanye comes out.
Oh no.
Well, I've at least seen people compared that to like, the ones where like they're saying like Hail Satan and stuff. Like, like the Lil Nas X video where he was dancing on Satan's lap.
Yeah.
I saw somebody saying like, oh, well, Lil Nas can release this and there's no trouble with it. I mean, I'm not saying anything about the Ye song. I'm just saying, how did we get to a point where that's like these are music videos that are widely accepted? He doesn't even want to answer that question. Okay. Well, anyway,
definitely a rhetorical question, I assume. Definitely rhetorical.
The questions ever. So we're going to take a look at some other cultural moments though, because I definitely wanted to introduce those on the show. Look, I mean, this DC the Don thing, plenty of culture involved here. I mean, as Mr. The Oracle understands, the culture is spreading and we need to show that to you guys. So we have some videos here. Let me see what I want to show first.
In regard to that question, I have this to say.
In connection to the question, I have this to say. So let's see. So we basically have a guy. Well, first of all, there was that tweeted out, dude poured 5-gallon lean dispenser. CIA is on the way. I just saw that tweet from like, I saw the video that was attached. I'm going to show you the video in a second here. I'm just saying like somebody called out that this was happening. So I was curious to see it. And, it wasn't being lied about. There was a 5-gallon dispenser with lean being poured into it, and we're about to watch that.
Is that not lethal?
I don't think the implication was that it was drank in one sitting. I think it was just that you have lean, at the ready. Maybe we shouldn't leave the beat playing because that might be copyright there. But yeah, no. So what we're seeing, first of all, you got to take the Sprite. You got to take the Sprite and you got to fill up half the gallon jug, the 5-gallon jug with it.
He said pop.
I don't know what the captions are saying. Let me narrate this. He says, I need more pop. So he didn't have the full 5 gallons.
You didn't say soda.
He wanted to have the full 5 gallons, or at least most. I'm sorry?
He did not say soda. He said pop.
That too. He wanted to have the Sprite though. That's what he needed, because this is dirty Sprite. He needed enough Sprite to make 5 gallons of dirty Sprite, and he didn't have enough Sprite for that. So he just went with his 2.5 gallons of Sprite, and he is pouring cough syrup into that to make a certain drink, a certain special drink, a certain dirty Sprite. Now, we don't know for sure that was real cough syrup, guys. This may be imitation of whatever that is, just for YouTube. I mean, we may not know what this really is. So I mean, don't do this at home, folks. Not good for you. But if that was just food dye or maybe some sort of juice, okay, But look, there's a reason people all drink on this and they can't put down the cup. And this guy does kind of look like Dave Blunt's a little bit, but less heavy.
I am the drink.
It's interesting that the people that are, I mean, like obviously not everybody, but he put it in the Starbucks cup, double cup Starbucks cup for mind you. He double cupped the Starbucks cup, put ice in there. And not only did he do that, he put a lid on it, dude. I've never seen this in my life. This is like, I don't know, man. He's gentrifying lean.
Gentrifying lean is crazy.
Okay, so let's see what the Oracle is saying here. A lot of good stuff from the Oracle. Yeah, the songs don't do us any justice, or don't us any justice. I guess you meant do us. Rap culture has poisoned itself for no reason. Doesn't mean I don't like listening to violent shit. LMAO. Yeah, I don't know, man. Can you listen to it without like I like you can listen to it and not feel like it's like you want to do it, right? Like you could play video games that have that, I guess is the argument, but at the same time these are people oftentimes wanting to describe their real events. So I don't know. I guess maybe if you're the one that's taking it as the entertainment thing, because they are making it into entertainment, it's kind of like you're the one playing the video game as opposed to being the person who actually did it. But I could also see like this is definitely influencing people who live in that culture to act like that.
Yeah.
More. It's normalizing it, and then supporting it is normalizing it, like helping normalize it because you're kind of playing it over and over.
I would say that, I mean, I don't really give a shit about like regulating culture and all that. Though. Let's just get that out of the way. But I would say if you had to make an argument that media leads to less desirable traits, you'd have a better case for like violent rap music than you would for like a violent video game, because a lot of the times in a violent video game, the context is in the sense that you're a protagonist, and even if it isn't, it's a little bit more comical. And even if it isn't, it seems like there's another layer of reality that you're removed from, as opposed to like someone that actually made it, that did do these things, or is at least insinuating that they did these things.
Yeah, like I feel like it's almost as if it's there's some sort of other standard when you're listening to rappers talk about this stuff, where like if we just had some like serial killer like coming out and making a vlog or something, or like some sort of like other kind of like music or something where he talks about this stuff, like of course people would watch it because they're like, what the hell, dude? But they're not thinking like, oh yeah, that's hard. I want to do that. Like, they're thinking like, what the fuck, like that's their literal thought to this. And that, it's like you're watching a crime documentary or something, which you are pretty much. But, so like, there's definitely this standard here where it just doesn't seem like they're really pointing it out, or like people aren't really understanding what it is as much. Like there's some sort of like block there where they kind of make it, I guess they praise it so much that you start to think, oh, okay, so this is just his life, whatever. Like, this is cool.
Yeah. And
let's see.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, he said, the Oracle, Popeyes is accepting EBT now. Haven't heard of the lean dispensary, though. CIA is on a generational run right now.
Can't argue with that.
But what were we saying?
I was gonna say, like, even in regards to like for example, like metal music, because I listen to a lot of that, where like a lot of lyrics are leaning towards like a similar theme in a way. That's also not great, I would admit, if I'm being completely fair. But even then, like there's some reality around the fact that like, okay, well, they're just doing this for the edginess. Like it's very rare that there actually is a possibility that they are engaging in this. But despite that, it still probably isn't great to be, surrounding yourself with that kind of stuff. But with the rap culture, it does seem like, to an extent, if they aren't saying they did do this, there is a glamorization of, oh, but I'm in the gang, or I'm in the game where it could have happened, which is at least to an extent a little bit worse, I would say. It's like a little bit more real in that sense.
Yeah. So we have over here, maybe the Oracle, like the queen, okay? Absolute black queen that just got her undergraduate in biology, and she wants to be a doctor in virology. So we need to celebrate black excellence, okay? So let's take a look.
I'm gonna sit down and listen.
Yeah, there we go. There we go. Okay, so this is her photo. Legit. I mean, she said, "Oh, I just graduated this past weekend with an undergraduate in biology, doctor in virology loading." And this is her And she says they are black rhodium grills, and she put grills with a Z. Some guy named Snot said it was tough. He's not Snot. Shmooly. You're not Shmooly. Somebody wanted to make her teeth 3 times bigger because if you look at it, it looks like if you were like squinting, it looks like she just has a big gap in her mouth and like those are tiny teeth. So Grok came up with this, and it's like literally just like her teeth are normal when you said make her teeth 3 times bigger. Oracle over here. We was biologists and shit. Well, I mean, I guess she's gonna be. Those eyebrows are really thin too. Look at them.
Yeah, I was gonna say they look like they're drawn up.
You. Yeah. But yeah, no, I mean that was just to show the grills. Interesting choice to say the least for a graduating photo that you would choose the grills, but you know, and also as a woman, I don't think I've seen a woman wearing grills.
I don't think I have either. Maybe
see my boy Zarias, who's been on this show before, he owns grills. But if I were to ask him like, hey, yo, do you think it would be normal if your girl wore grills? I think he'd be like, what?
He wouldn't be up for that.
He'd be like, what's this? What, brother? What is that, brother? What's that, brother? But at least, you know, she is, hold on. At least she is focused on her educational prowess, okay? At least she is pursuing her educational prowess further. But on the other hand, there are other activities that are taking place at the same time that perhaps we would say, I don't know about this one, folks. I'm just going to say it. I don't know about this. That's really all I can say there. But we're going to see and at least they're a family, you know, in this one. At least they are a complete family from what I can tell. A black family shopping. We need to promote black families staying together. So clearly I should not be criticizing this at all. But we're just going to take a watch. Okay. So I don't know if you've seen this video. This one was from probably like a week ago that I saw it, May 4th or something, but it's still. So this is the caption is and want a snack, and they're at a supermarket.
When your kids say they hungry in the store, gotta feed them. You gotta stop. You gotta feed them.
Okay, well, man, you can't just put the chips on the floor like that, man. Come on.
When I'm hungry, he gonna make you eat. You gotta eat.
I can't blame a man for eating, you know, assuming he's going to pay for that. But the chips on the floor is not right. That's just not right. Why would you teach that?
It's just so unnecessary. Why wouldn't you just hold it in your hands or something like that?
You could have just eaten them out of the bag. Why did you have to put them on the floor? Oh, man, I can't eat the chips if I can't see them.
Again, you could have just used your hands or something. Like, why on the floor?
Yeah, I don't know. But I think this one has to be, like, I don't know about that last girl. I think that last girl might have been serious with the grills. I don't think that was necessarily just trying to get attention. Maybe from the posting it on Twitter. But these guys, like this family, this guy is clearly doing this for attention. I mean, this is clearly, he knows it's out of the ordinary because he's saying when your kids say they hungry and want a snack. I mean, it's like, it's proposing a situation that seems like it isn't normal for most people to do. And that's why he's posting about it. Right. So, I mean, it's like, you know, obviously this guy, I think he, if anything, likely doing it for views. be like, because otherwise maybe they would just straight up do this in the store if this was just like a normal activity for them. Who knows if they have done it or haven't done it before. I was thinking, in my mind, they have done this all the time, but for all I can say is bro is trying to rage bait, I believe here.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, the way the internet works now, especially in like stuff like this, like TikTok and whatnot, it's like either you have something really new or you have something that's going to get a lot of engagement by pissing people off. So you have some people saying, what the fuck is this? And other people saying, what? It's perfectly normal, yada, yada, yada. And you just get a shit ton of engagement from that. And then you get
Dude, I mean, even the people commenting that it's normal, they're probably trying to get more attention too, like themselves on their own comments, saying like, oh yeah, no, I do this all the time with my family. Yeah, we totally do this. I mean, like, I don't know, man. Do you think he's self-aware in that, like he would be like, yeah, but like people are totally going to believe that I do this? I mean, even if the notions that are preconceived about certain people are misguided, you think he's aware of stereotypes and he's just kind of like, yeah, I'm going to play on that. I'm totally going to use that.
I see what you mean.
Yeah.
I think to an extent, yeah, probably.
Yeah, I can see it. I really think bro is just trying to make like content here. I really don't think it's anything else. I mean, if I just saw somebody else recording it and the guy wasn't recording and they were just straight up doing this, that's another thing. They're not even doing it for anybody at that point. It would be kind of funny if we saw another perspective and this guy wasn't recording one day and like they just like legit do this. That would be pretty funny. But yeah, as far as this, I'm just gonna chalk it up to that, honestly, unless we do get other footage like that. But this one, unlike this one, the next one that I'm gonna show is and yeah, Mr. Oracle even said that this one was obvious, because I feel that too. Schrodinger's rage bait, yeah, for sure. But the next one is not rage bait, because I mean, either that or this was more skillfully planned to seem real somehow. But I really don't feel like this one was just rage bait. It did go viral, so. But we're gonna watch this one where a woman, a strong black queen, was upset about her portion sizes at Chipotle and took it upon herself to get the justice she felt was deserved. Okay. So we're gonna take a look at this one. This one, I really, out of everything, because even the grills, those could be, and the lean, those are all content, man. I mean, even like, the grills maybe less so. Maybe that, again, could more be serious. But the lean was obviously content. Of course, he's going to be putting it in a Starbucks cup to even get more attention. It's not some guy just recording out of like, his home somewhere where the lean is typically drank. It's like he has a nice home and everything. Maybe he doesn't even drink lean. I don't know. Maybe he was doing it for content. I don't know. But, like DC the Don, obviously real. I don't think bro was just trying to advance his career, unless he was. And that kind of sucks that he did it to bro. But this one right here, out of all of them, aside from DC the Don, this just seems real. Let's watch.
Just let her make her food. Just get her food, please. Like, yeah, like just let her get her food. Just live a life.
Thank you. Y'all got me fucked up. Then she gonna take my food. So I can't get my shit.
Ooh. Wow. Well, as far as getting your food not taking from you, you kind of failed even more by slamming it into bro. I mean, yeah, I hadn't even seen that last 2 seconds, honestly. I had just seen the rest of it. I was like, damn, okay, this would be good for the show. Seen this slam, dude. I had not seen that. That was wow. But, also like from what I see, like he doesn't have a hat on, but the other African-American gentleman, I believe he's a worker, no? Or is he just like with her and trying to get her to stop? Because I can't tell if he's wearing like, he's wearing black, but he doesn't have like the shirt, like the t-shirt or the hat.
Yeah, they do make you wear the hats when you're at the front. So I'm leaning towards he's just kind of like a stand.
Might be from the back though, and trying to help out if he isn't with her.
I guess, yeah, that's also fair. You would need more context.
Yeah, in any case, this man's acting far more rationally than she is. Well, mind you, Chipotle does screw you on the servings. We can't say that they don't.
Well,
in her defense.
That depends on where you go.
Yeah, but people have made it a big thing that like they do this, and to get bigger portions, people often record and so or make a big deal about it. But what I'm saying is that it's not out of the blue, or I guess like it's not completely out of the ordinary that Chipotle would do this to you. So I could see that there may be a frustration with trying to get adequate food portions. At the same time, clearly she is causing a commotion in doing so. So, I mean, this gentleman over here, who clearly is acting more rationally than she is trying to get her to calm down a bit here. He's grabbing her on the arm like, come on, like this is enough. Like, I don't know if he's a worker here. I don't know if he's with her, but either way, he's a lot more calm and collected. Not very rapper like of him. Very good. But no, she is legitimately crashing out over this Chipotle. I mean, I don't know if she like had low blood sugar that day and she was like, man, I really just need some food right now. But man, she's shoveling that corn on like crazy. She needs some of that. Just serving herself, taking it upon herself. I don't even know how she got back here, honestly. I don't know if she jumped it, like, the little gate thing, or if she just opened it up. I'm not exactly sure, but she found a way. And then decided after all that hard work of building her plate, when this man tried grabbing it from her, just tried slamming it into him, and she actually did. Do you think she would have paid what they charged her for this had she built her plate? Like, was she planning on paying? Was she intent on paying, you think?
She would have at least made a big deal out of it.
Let's see. So we have some comments from the Oracle here. So why does the person in the background just want the Chipotle worker to just roll over and give into the demands? Yeah, the lady recording, she's like, let her eat, make her food. Let her eat. She need her food. But why are people okay with giving rewards to people acting out of line? She's probably with her. It's probably like some sort of friend or something. I that's what I took it as. She's with her party. I would take it that maybe she would even share with her. I'm not sure, but the Oracle also says, literally go eat somewhere else. True. I mean, like, you don't need to eat at Chipotle. And assuming you've been to Chipotle before, you kind of know what you're going to get, unless this is a new location for you. Like, you kind of know what you're going to get as far as portion sizes. So I don't really see, I guess like the surprise, but I mean, he says file a complaint, it's really not the fault of the employees. That is true. And so he also says she already too big anyways. I mean, she's definitely eating a lot of seed oils, and cornstarch too, them crunches or whatever they're called. What are they called? The Oracle. I'm sure at this point, the bites or crunch or whatever they're called, where they like mix cornstarch with like sugar or something. I don't even know how much sugar they put in that, but they put like some flavor packs and stuff. But they sound like styrofoam and I hate them, dude. Have you ever tried one? That would be funny if you have. But anyway, so he says, I do believe it is a problem with, I'm just going to like assume every stereotype about him now. Just like, hey man, have you done that? Have you tried that out? Yo, have you had soul food? I mean, I feel like you have. That you had to have had, bro. I've had soul food. Like, come on. I mean, I did get like, I think the one time I went there, kind of just a T-bone steak, but come on, it was a soul food place. So, anyway, he says, I do believe it is a problem. Well, whatever. I'm just going to say I had it. I do. And frankly, it wasn't the best, but whatever, but, he says, I do believe it is a problem with service, though. We definitely need bigger portions. Chipotle is a fucking scam. That is true. And, I think like of course, we're talking about rappers. Rappers are very prone to getting mad about things. And when, it's not always the case that something is already good and they're just getting mad about it, like this, for example, Chipotle, small portions. You see normal people complain about that on social media and to each other, but they don't really do anything about it because it's not like the biggest issue ever. Now, as far as like issues in general, there are a lot of things that are getting worse. I mean, this being one of them, but it's a minor thing. But in general, people get screwed over a lot by the system, right? By the man, whatever have you, however you would put it. But like basically, as people call it, it's not really like a guy, but it's Anyway, like the system in place, you know, people have been more so screwed over by it. People have felt more jaded about it, and less optimistic, like that, like they're being wronged more, and it's true, they are. And I think there's a certain point where people start getting more aggressive over it. They start like lashing out more. That's not to say I'm gonna go to a Chipotle and act out like this, but I do think, like, aside from cases like these, like, I'm just saying in general, where people get mad about things, that we are getting to a point where people do more things like that because of how much people are getting screwed over these days. So, like, obviously the people that are going to do it first are the ones who were already prone to acting out like that anyway. But eventually you're probably going to get people that weren't prone to just acting like that and were more civil, acting in that manner too at a certain point, because there's got to be a breaking point for people.
We live in a society.
But yeah, I mean, yeah, take it up with Chipotle. I mean, these are workers again. Like they go to the job, they do, and there's no big like I'm just following orders thing here with Chipotle. Like, people are just the manager tells them, hey, we just need to like do this and that. And there's probably like the cook saying like, hey, look, you can't just be given these big ass portions because then we're gonna run out. Like, come on, and so it just all comes together to say like, well, we kind of have to keep portions to this, or it's going to cause problems, whether it's with the people that I work for or whether it's the people I work with, it's not going to be the best thing. So let me just, do what I'm told. It's not like it's the end of the world if I do that. Nobody's dying because I do that. Nobody's getting like physically harmed because I do that. If anything, it's worse that people are eating this fryer oil to begin with. But and even so, they cook with rice bran oil at Chipotle, so it's not much better. But point being is like this is one of the most minor things. It's not even like some customer service bullshit for the most point where like they keep saying like I just can't do that, sir. I just can't do that. It's just some like food portion. If you want more food, buy more food. I mean, I know it's unfortunate that we have to come to this where you have to pay through the ass for these small ass portions of food, but that's really your only solution here. If not, cook at home or go somewhere else.
I remember when you could get a Chipotle burrito for like less than like $8 or something like that.
You remember when people started coming up with that hack where you'd like order the tortilla and then everything as a side, and then they would get like really cheap burritos?
I don't. Wait, I think I did see it once. Actually, now that I think about it.
Well, there was a point where Chipotle didn't have any like fix for this. So like it just kind of happened, but then they noticed like, hey, wow, this is really catching on and everybody's like doing this. So we're going to lose a lot of money. Let's like not allow that.
So the solution was not bringing the price up for the sides, just not letting people do that.
I actually don't know which way they did it, but they did one of those to stop people from just doing it. So either way, they made it so that like you couldn't just get those cheap like sides and put them all together into a burrito. Like you could not do this anymore.
So here's the other thing I'll say too, because I get it. Like again, in my recent memory, I can't remember the portions being too bad, but I do remember I do know the prices are getting big or higher. So that alone is kind of enough to be a little upset. But the other thing is because Chipotle, they do cook things fresh every morning or every day for the most part. And then they try to get like higher quality ingredients. It is going to be a bit more of a hit on them to do that. So in terms of portion sizes and also in terms of prices, that's kind of the trade-off you get with that quality of food. And it is fast food, but it is a better option in terms of fast food, generally speaking. Whereas if you go to, wow, this is not even a great example, but like if you go to like an actual fast food place, it's not going to be as horrible because you kind of know what you're getting. And it's way easier to cut corners in terms of financial strain with stuff like that. Mm-hmm. But yeah, even there, it's kind of getting bad. But in terms of prices, not portions.
All right. So that sums it up for our viewing of cultured experiences and moments this week. So I hope you enjoyed that.
Culture corner.
But culture corner. So we're gonna take a look at Diddy.
Pause.
we're gonna take a look at Diddy. And so we're gonna expose Diddy. Actually, we're gonna actually expose Diddy. So,
Party like
let's
a
see
Diddy
here.
party.
So
Is what
Myron
I've heard.
Gaines, Myron Gaines has been covering this story with like the trial and all that, but apparently he had this short that I haven't watched. But I hope it's YouTube friendly here. I mean, it's on YouTube, but basically he's talking about some sort of
the gamble.
Diddy oil story. He's talking about some sort of Diddy oil story here. So let's take a look. Hold on. I was trying to turn off my camera.
Particular baby oil. This gets crazy. He wanted the baby oil so much that they were glistening. They were applying this baby oil.
He wanted glaze.
They weren't trying to. You basically tell them, hey, stop what you're doing. Put on more baby oil. You'll dry. And it was literally what they were doing if they didn't have no baby oil. So she said this led to them pretty much always having to put baby oil on. They had so much of it all the time. And then one time she mentioned the story had a pool of baby oil jumped in there with her. Very weird. So they had a very.
Have you seen that Family Guy clip where it's like Joe trying to talk to Quagmire? Hold on. He's saying, did he use seed oils? Did he use vegetable oil too to try and lube him up when baby oil wasn't available? Or what is baby oil actually? What is it made of?
It probably is. Actually, yeah, I have no idea what that is.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that until what is baby oil? And it stays liquid at room temperature, so. Well, it's a mineral oil. Let's see. So, such as liquid paraffin and petroleum jelly. Yeah. I still don't trust that. Doesn't sound right. Let's see. Products based on vegetable oils. Vegetable oils are produced by plants. Yeah, obviously I know this. Okay, so let's see. Coconut and palm oil. No, about 95% of each. Why are they describing just vegetable oils, dude? I'm trying to see like fucking if they actually do use them in here. Why is there just a section on vegetable oils? They don't even talk about the ones that they're using. Because it just says products based on mineral oil, products based on vegetable oil. Let's see. Preservatives. Oh, well, they do base them on some on vegetable oils. So, but to avoid rancidity, preservatives or antioxidants are added to baby oils based on vegetable oils. Yeah, so these oils, there we go. These oils, I'm not sharing the tab, but I'm just explaining it. So they use coconut oil, palm oil, soy oil, olive oil, avocado oil, almond oil, shea butter, jojoba oil, which is actually, it's a seed oil still, but it's not as bad, from what I recall, for topical usage, and then sunflower oil. So the really bad ones are the soy oil and the sunflower oil, and I guess the almond oil. I mean, I don't know too much about that, but I would assume so as well, because it's still unsaturated.
It's like a blend of oils, basic.
Well, it just says the cosmetic products that they use are those. They could use blends, I would say, but I mean, I don't know which ones they're using, generally or more popularly. But yeah, so I guess if you're looking out, just don't get the ones that have the seed oils, but it's probably gonna be most of them these days.
I'm trying to think what you would even use that for.
Oh, see, I'm seeing an ingredients list here. So it's sunflower seed oil, sweet almond oil, olive oil, it says caprylic triglyceride, and then a flower extract, and then vitamin E. Yeah, so basically it could just straight up be basically an oil blend. So yeah, did he just use seed oils? Probably, unless he used the petroleum based or mineral oil ones. Whoa. On everyone's soil, we three were at the Diddy parties.
What?
Bro's Instagram commenter. On everyone's soil, we three were at the Diddy parties. Like all three of us. Him and us. It's a safe place. We don't have to lie anymore.
Whoa. Hold on.
Yeah, I know. It's quite interesting. But anyway, have you seen that Family Guy episode where Joe was talking to Quagmire and he was talking to Quagmire and he was like, what I really like is a soapy bottom. That's what really gets me going.
I do remember that. I remember watching that
he's
a
like,
while ago.
yeah, he was like, yeah, I just really like a soapy bottom. Just really soaped up. Yeah. Let me see. Soapy bottom. This is Diddy right now, you know, with his oil right here. Let's see. I probably got to skip to that based on copyright too, because they're going to be like, oh, you played a Family Guy clip. Hold on.
What's your pleasure? What kind of movies?
I don't know. MILF stuff's kind of cool. What about you?
Me, I have very particular tastes. I like a soapy bottom.
What?
Soft four soaped up butts, like from a PG-13 camp movie. I can't get it. Drives me wild.
Yeah, that's Diddy right there. He's like, yeah, that's how I need to be with the baby oil.
I keep thinking about
soapy bottom.
The parody of Justin Bieber's Baby, but he's just saying baby oil.
No. I don't know if I heard the whole thing, but yeah, I remember.
Diabolical using a Justin Bieber song.
So yeah, what do you know about the Diddy trial then? You're just saying you know it happened.
Yep. I know it happened. I know it's happening.
Let me look up a Diddy trial summary. Let's see. Diddy. Why is it all Reddit? Oh, like fill in auto Reddit fucking search for me. Oh yeah.
That's good.
Cassie was accusing Diddy of Concord graping her. Let's see.
You know,
so
Concord
she's had testimony,
is really
I
not
guess.
as good as like Welch's. I think Welch's is a lot better.
Yeah. Well, Welch's Concord still.
Is it?
Yeah. The purple one is Concord grape.
I thought Concord was a brand.
Is there a brand called Concord?
That's what I thought. I don't know what the fuck Concord means.
Welch's has Concord grape. I thought it was a type of grape. I just didn't know if there was a brand called Concord when you were mentioning that.
I might be retarded.
It's like a type of grape. It's a grape variety. Let me look up Concord grape brand. No, it's just Welch's, dude. I mean, I don't know. Let's see. Yeah. You know, the problem is I want to drink white grape juice, but all the white grape juice has preservatives in it. And I'm like, damn, dude, I just want some like clean white grape juice.
You're going to have to get the Moscato.
Yeah, I guess I just got to go for that route, you know, instead of actual juice. But I can't drink like a liter of it at a time. And you're like, watch me.
It's basically juice. It's only what, like 5%?
Oh, the Oracle says Reddit daughter or Twitter son. Pick your poison.
Twitter son.
I thought it was usually the opposite. See, if it's like a Reddit son or Twitter daughter, then the Twitter daughter is an e-whore. But if it's like a Twitter son, he might be based. He might be pretty based. But the daughter would just be like somebody that's talking about like, oh my God, like I cheated on somebody. You know, what do I do now? And the Reddit son would be like, I got cheated on. What do I do now? Do I stay with her, guys? I still love her. Let's see. So, 9 takeaways. CNN did 9 takeaways from day one of testimony. I don't know. That was day one, though. Let's see. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, he's going into, you know, testimony, racketeering and trafficking. The criminal trial represents a dramatic fall from grace for Combs. Yeah, of course we know this. I mean, it's been known. It's been known. Apparently he's pleaded not guilty. I mean, of course, yeah, he would have to if there was a trial going on, right? I mean, if not, the judge would sentence you, right? To 5 counts. Is that how that works? The judge sentences you if you say I'm just guilty?
I'm inclined to say yes.
Because then they wouldn't be like doing the whole like picking of the jury and stuff. It would just be the judge who's like, okay, fine, you know, here you go.
Right.
Because I mean, the jury is determining whether you were guilty or not. They're not determining your sentence.
Right.
Yeah. So the judge just be like, okay, well, I mean, on these counts, here's your sentence. Okay, so Combs has pleaded not guilty to 5 counts, including 1 count of racketeering conspiracy, 2 counts of sex trafficking, and 2 counts of transportation to engage in prostitution. If convicted, he could face a sentence of up to life in prison. Okay. As Kanye has said, he likes that he's seen Cosby free, and now we just got a free Diddy, and he's got that freak in me. You know, that's what he says. His new song, Cosby. Let's see. Yeah, so we already have seen we've already heard about Cassie actually starting to testify, but it says the case will mostly focus on 2 accusers, Cassie Ventura, a woman identified as Jane. Wow, that helps. I mean, like, oh, sorry. Cassie Ventura and a woman identified as Jane. I was like, what the hell? You're identifying Cassie as Jane? That we already know who she is. But anyway, some woman identified as Jane. That makes more sense. I'm just illiterate. Let's see. According to an assistant U.S. attorney called Emily Johnson. Whoa, Johnson.
Johnson?
Is there a second Johnson? Well, hold on. The next line. Combs coerced the 2 women into freak-offs. I mean, we already knew about that, but that's like... they just put it in quotes, freak-offs. It's just funny reading that. That would last days. Days they would go into freak-offs. What would they do? Would they sleep? Would they eat? That's crazy.
Bro, I gotta get like some food in if I'm doing that.
Yeah, exactly.
How do you do that?
If you're doing a freak-off.
Like, if you're
you could
doing that, you're gonna run out of energy.
Yeah.
You gotta eat.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. You do have to eat. I mean, you can't freak off without energy. How are you supposed to freak off? You can't prove that you're the biggest freak if you don't have a sandwich. Let's see. That would last days and took place across the country, Johnson said. So yeah, the freak offs would last days. I mean, like, would they just stop when Diddy goes to sleep? Like, Diddy falls asleep, it's like, okay, he can stop. It's like, I'm still going. And so Combs staff organized the travel, and his business paid the expenses in what prosecutors described as a criminal enterprise. I also heard Myron describing that like they had doctors that they would get like to prescribe. It wasn't what medication was it? It was opioids of some kind. And basically what they would have is like the doctors that were working, or at least the doctor, I don't know, that was working with Diddy, would pretty much like start prescribing it to other people, because there's like a lot of stringency when it comes to prescription of opioids. So they would have to kind of like switch off who's actually getting them so that Diddy can continue using them. Mr. Oracle asks, the hell is a freak off? You know what a freak off is. What do you mean you don't know what a freak off is? You said you were at the Diddy parties, but what a freak off is, according to Diddy standards, I mean, from what I can collect, is filling a kiddie pool with baby oil and having them fight in it, or maybe having them take turns twerking in the baby oil and having it like sprinkled on them. I don't know. That's what it sounds like.
Do you think when he was having the freak offs, he would play Le Freak by Chic?
I haven't heard that.
Yeah, you have. It's like a really famous disco song.
I guess I have. I don't know. How does it go?
The chorus is like "freak out" or whatever.
Oh,
and you hear the guitar. Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Freak out.
They jump in the pool.
Freak out. That's the perfect song on it. I'm, knowing Diddy, he had to have played that, dude.
Right?
He had to have. I mean, there's no way he didn't. Let's see. So
he did.
Ventura first met Combs in 2006 when she was a 19-year-old model and aspiring with a hit song. He was 17 years older than her. They began dating within a year of him signing her to his label. Wow, that was terrible. Bad Boy. And they dated off and on until 2018. Usually it's on and off. Why off and on? Until 2018, prosecutors said. Also, like, okay, I get Diddy did it. right? But like they're trying to say like, oh, he was 17 years older than this 19-year-old girl. How dare he? I mean, if it was just a normal relationship where he didn't do what he did, I mean, come on now. Like, what are we trying to get at here? Whoa. The podcast ever freak off charity live stream win. We're going to have representatives as freaks for us. We're not going to freak off. We'll pick our own, best woman we can find for the freak off, and we'll have them freak off. Depends on what the charity's for.
I'm not doing that.
You're saying you wouldn't even pick a woman and you're like, that's going to be my freak. And I'm like, this is my freak. We're going to have them freak off.
Wait, are they freaking off with each other or what's happening here?
No, we're just having them in a contest to see it's like a bodybuilding competition. Who's the biggest freak? Who's the biggest bodybuilder? Like, who's the biggest freak?
Do they have to be women? I'm confused.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you wanted to be men?
I mean, how are you defining freak? Like, what's the? Because like,
you don't know what a freak is.
If we're going for like the freakiest person, I think a guy would be easier to get to the pillar of that. Pause. Jesus Christ. You get what I'm saying?
You don't want to see a guy freaking off. I'm freaking it. I'm freaking my.
Depending on how you're defining freak, but it seems like I wouldn't.
It's sexual. I mean, what do you not get about that?
Well, it doesn't have to be. You can call someone a freak without that.
No, but
being like
this is so we're gonna make a freak. Oh, you know what? You have a point, because we can do a freak off. We can call it that. It's gonna market us good for the charity live stream, but we just get the weirdest looking guys we can, and then we don't get just like two. We have our group of freaks, and we see each of our sides who has picked the freakiest ones, like looking ones, so that we can have that freak competition. But it's not going to be freaky in that nature that we were originally talking about with Diddy, because that's just kind of weird, but we still get the attention.
Yes.
So, I mean, that's pretty good, actually. You got a point. That was actually pretty good. So prosecutor said he repeatedly physically, did stuff to her that was no bueno. In 2009, he threw her to the floor in an SUV and stomped repeatedly on her face, Johnson said. In another instance, when Combs learned Ventura was seeing another man, he was brutally kicking her in the back and flinging her around like a rag doll, apparently.
Jesus.
He beat her for small slights, such as when she didn't answer the phone or when she took too long in the bathroom. Wow. Further, Johnson described one incident in which Combs allegedly made a male sex worker pee in her mouth. So he basically waterboarded her with piss.
Wow.
Let's see. So, and then if Cassie didn't do what the defendant wanted, the consequences were severe, she said. Combs used his power and control over her to do his bidding in those dark hotel rooms. Why would they say dark? I mean, I guess they're trying to paint a picture of it, but the funny thing is, Kanye on one of his recent songs, it was called Bianca, and he was like saying like, because Bianca, he was saying she left him, and like, I mean, they're together, so I don't know if that was like temporary or if like, he was just making it to make a song, and he's just trying to play on like what happened with him and Kim, but he was making the song and he was like, basically like, my bitch trying to have me committed. I'm tracking my bitch on an app. I'm tracking my bitch through the city. I guess we the new Cassie and Diddy is what he said in the song. I was like, yo,
damn,
Kanye, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? Okay. But anyway, yeah, he really likes talking about Diddy. But anyway, less than a year ago, Combs and Jane had a physical fight at her home. She tried to, so this is, I think, even what was being referenced, because like we already knew Diddy put hands on her. She tried to run out of the front door, but he grabbed her in a chokehold, lifted her by the neck, and kicked her to the ground, Johnson said. Later that night, he forced her into a freak off. Wow. That it's just, I can't take that word serious, dude. That term, like, oh man, like he's like brutally beating her, and then like, wow. And then he put her in a freak off. It's like, you can't just hit me with that. You can't just do that. Yeah. A third woman, an employee who was allegedly sexually touched by Combs, is also expected to testify. So she's kind of like the Pentagon. Jury will see video of freak-offs. So wow, they're actually going to see evidence of this. Prosecutors like video evidence. That's kind of crazy. I mean, obviously you have to in cases like where you have it in the first place, but like, damn, dude, like I could only imagine what it's like seeing that. Prosecutors said they plan to show the jury the video of the freak-offs. Combs' provocative term. Why do you, if it's Combs' provocative term, why do they keep saying it? Like, how do you keep a straight face as a lawyer saying that in court, dude? I know it's a serious situation, but like you're saying freak-offs like it's nothing, like to get people to like, take this more seriously and be like, wow, that was terrible. You can't just be saying freak-offs, dude. If you have anybody that's like under 25 in that group, they're just going to be laughing their asses the whole time, laughing their asses off. Okay. And because they can't take that kind of term serious. It's just too funny. And honestly, like I think too, like how much of the jury could have even have been people like, especially males under 25 when this Diddy stuff is like blown up on Instagram to the level it has?
It's a great question.
And that too, like, how do you find people like that are just, they know nothing. They haven't even heard like negative stuff about Diddy. How do you find a jury for that? I mean, I'm sure at some point they can't. I'm sure at some point they can't. But like, and obviously like with like the Chauvin trial back when that happened, that was kind of hard too to like see, like find people that hadn't even heard of like the George Floyd situation because of how national it was. But like, how do you find jurors that can be unbiased in that, like, and just take the facts at that point? I mean, obviously jurors aren't going to be unbiased regardless, but I'm just saying like not super biased already coming in, like he did it. Or I mean, I don't think there's that many people saying he didn't do it, but that's kind of my point. Like you kind of have to go into any trial with a pretty clean slate and just take a look at what happened.
Speaking of that, is Kanye saying he didn't do it, or is he saying he did it and he doesn't care?
That I don't know completely, because Kanye, he was saying that they were just going after Cosby, and that's why it was happening to him in the first place, because he's like, oh, well, they're just trying to go after a black man in the industry. It seems like there might be a similar sentiment there. I mean, Kanye was definitely serious about the Cosby stuff. The Diddy stuff, I guess he is too, because he had a website like on his website when he was running it. He had some Sean John merch, and the proceeds were going to Diddy's son. And Sean John is like Diddy's brand. So, I mean, or at least it was. So, what are we talking about here then? Is it just a troll? It couldn't be at that point if he is giving money to the son of Diddy.
Well, can we verify that the money's actually going there?
Well, that's what he was saying was happening. So I know. I mean, I feel like I guess he doesn't legally liable. Let me look up Ye Sean John shirt. Well, people are saying he was trying to cause outrage with it too, with the shirts being sold. But he was saying that it was going to Diddy's son. Let me take a look at the Complex article, I guess. Because it says, Ye Sean John collab dropped after calling for Diddy's freedom. The quote unquote, we splitting the profits 50-50. We splitting the profits 50-50. Okay. Let's see. Oh, and he apparently pleaded with President Trump for the freedom of the currently incarcerated Diddy. Ye released a Sean John collaboration he claimed to have worked out with the disgraced mogul before he was locked up. The 47-year-old also claimed the proceeds from the collab merch sales would be split 50-50 between him and Diddy. The merch consists of just t-shirts available in red, white, and blue. And let's see. This is a quote. I'm selling the Sean John collaboration that me and my brother spoke about before they locked him up. We splitting the profits 50-50. And then Kanye tweeted at real Donald Trump, please free my brother Puff. Let's see some other stuff. He's also talked about how the music industry has unfairly treated Chris Brown. This is something else Kanye has talked about. So oftentimes when there's a controversy with a black man, Kanye is coming to say, well, did it really happen though? Or are we just going after black people? So we all watched Take Chris Brown and Ain't Nobody Do Nothing. I Was Pussy Then to Chris Brown. It's to the wheels fall off. That's literally how it was phrased. There was no, I didn't make any error in saying that. Okay. Yeah, that would be cool, basically. And yeah, I mean, it would only serve Kanye thinking he's right when Cosby gets freed too. I mean, Cosby already got freed. I just mean that definitely in Kanye's mind makes it seem like he actually was unjustly treated. Cosby. Let's see. The Oracle says, have y'all talked about the continuation yet? I missed 2 weeks. So, I mean, we touched on it, but we didn't really go into depth on it. I was saying some of the stuff we kind of have to tread lightly on as well, though. It seems like it's not really controversial, even in I guess more mainstream conservative spaces, to say what happened to Austin Metcalf was wrong. I mean, even if they're like we had been talking about earlier, clearly people shouldn't be doing this stuff over what someone says to someone, or even if it's even if there was some sort of intimidation, even if that were the case, if there were no physical altercation, you don't just go stabbing people. I mean, it's if you should think about this from the person's perspective that was seeing somebody unfamiliar, that okay, well, it's good to question why people are there. If you had never seen this person before, why is he here? All that. And it is wrong to stab people unless it is a clear self-defense, you are about to be physically harmed situation, and it's evident. It's not just a hunch, even if that was what it was. And we also talked about his family getting all that money through the GoFundMe, which they bought a house with, and of course, but it's very much a problem that there is so many people supporting this. I mean, it's one thing if it's just straight up a legal representation everybody has, is given that opportunity. Obviously that can still be an expense if people want to go an alternative route, but they're given that as an option. So I really don't think people should just be sending in money to somebody that at the very least, I think that's just, is a potential murderer. I mean, potential is at the very least. But he killed someone. And from what I can tell, it didn't really seem like there was much to say that, this could have made sense to a rational person to have done in that situation. So and with the father, Austin Metcalf's father, who sort of was saying, well, this isn't, something that I want to take sides on. I forgot what exactly he said, but, it was basically saying how much sympathy he had for Carmelo, and basically thinking this, well, he might have not wanted all the flack. That might have been part of it, but Austin Metcalf's brother was grieving, especially because I guess they were I don't know if they were twins. I think they were twins, or either that or very close in age, but I believe they were twins. And basically, for the dad to just be coming out and saying, well, let's not make too big of a deal of this or something, along those lines, basically let's not, go after anyone. I don't know, man. Obviously, it's one thing to say justice will be served somehow. It's another to just be straight up being neutral in the death of your own son, is all I'm saying. I don't know if Greg was going to say anything, but he also says,
nope.
What about, and I think he meant to say Hendrix there. Is that is this situation? Because from what I'm understanding in the second half of that sentence, you're talking about the lady at the park, right? Is what I'm getting. And yeah, people are comparing the situations. Yeah. I mean, this is definitely something that's, and so with the mother and the kid that was allegedly stealing her bag, I didn't even lie. She was cute as hell. But the thing is, the guy that was approaching her, first of all, a pedophile that was coming to antagonize her over something that, shouldn't have been a national thing. I don't think, I mean, at least, I don't know. I haven't read as much about that one, like specifically. I know about the general thing that happened there and some of the details, but I would have to like sort of like look into the specifics exactly how that started. I know, I think Greg knows a little bit more. Okay. I don't know if he was doing something, but the thing is here that in this situation, I think like obviously like we were talking about before, I mean, this is language. This isn't like, something that like nobody's being physically gone after in a situation like, the one that it was to begin with. The guy who's approaching her is definitely just trying to make a scenario, like a scene. He's trying to make a scene out of this. He's trying to, like expose a racist and stuff and, really try and do a gotcha thing. Ha, I got you. You're racist. And I mean, like, I don't think people should get canceled for saying words as much as you could say like, okay, well, was it, okay to say that to like a kid, or whatever. But at the end of the day, I don't think, we should like be going after people as much as people have been in the past like years for saying what they say. Of course, that could influence how you, Greg was taken, dude. I don't know what happened to him, but of course that could influence how you interact with people depending on like how justified you think. I don't know. There we go. It took a second to load for me. Of course, it could influence how you interact with people depending on how you view that situation. And that's one thing. But like, I mean, there have been mobs for a while that will go after people for like what could be considered, I mean, as far as like, racism or, what is called that, less, I guess, inflammatory moments than this have been gone after in recent years. So I can see why so many people donated to it because they're kind of fed up. When you get to this point where everybody's called a racist, of course there are going to be people that start lashing out, start saying stuff that they're just kind of like, fuck it. Like, why don't I just say the thing that you want me to say? You think I'm thinking that. You keep wanting to call me racist. You keep wanting to think like I'm this person that would like literally say this any chance I get. Might as well. Let me get the. I don't have that sound on.
Might as well.
There we go. I didn't have that soundboard active, but yeah. So I can definitely see how people would be more sympathetic to the situation, and also she didn't kill anybody is the thing, and she definitely didn't murder anybody. So I'm just saying, like, as far as her getting money to make sure that she's not getting canceled, I can see why people are donating to that. And I mean, overall, I guess you could play to get or you could get paid to be racist, I suppose, these days. It's let's see. Bro is really pushing the boundaries here on YouTube comments. You believe in the black fatigue thing. Look, I'm just saying in general, for the whole like race, like being called out on racism, being called a bigot, all of these things, right? Like that we've been seeing that conservatives have like pushed back on for a while now is very true. Like that people have been called labels for so long for not even saying things that have like, as I guess explosive or like inflammatory as they are now. That, I mean, it's like, how else are we going to like not get here? Right? Like, how else are we not going to get to where we are now when this has been a thing for a while now? When you get to the point where people are very much so like, I guess like, overly sensitive and just fishing to attack people for what they say, there's going to be a point where people get fed up and start saying whatever. I mean, it's just what happens. And, I mean, there are other video examples of this, but I'm not really going to just go over them.
If I can input here without getting into too much detail, the whole point of making the overly sensitive race thing is basically to incite this kind of reaction. So it's all going according to what the rule book or whatever really is. This isn't surprising. It's not a good thing, obviously. But this is the end result of treating a certain group of people as like a protected class, essentially.
Yeah.
And then treating the other people like dirt.
Yeah, and I don't think you're really risking the channel straight up by saying it, but I mean, obviously I can decide whether I'm even going to like address the comment or not, but I kind of did just want to address that. But it's all good, man. Like there's just, I guess if you ever want to talk about it privately, I guess Twitter at the podcast ever, you could do one of those and I couldn't get in touch with you somehow other than just the DMs there. But even so, we could just talk to you and kind of go over maybe a bit more of what we're not supposed to exactly say on here. It's not really about what you can or it's not really about what you can or can't comment. It's just more so like there are subjects on YouTube that, you know, are a little bit more touchy even now, even as things are kind of heading in a certain direction, honestly, because I mean, it seems like we're able to talk about a little bit more than we were before. Definitely. I mean, if you're on Twitter, you can basically talk about anything, but I have been listening to some Sargon of Akkad, he says things, so it has my wheels turning. That's fair enough. I mean,
yes, I've been talking about it for a while.
I think like
the past month or so.
Yeah, even if we're not viewing this from a perspective, you know, obviously people like there's a, you know, group saying, well, it's an inherent thing, like it's intrinsic. Even if we're just viewing this from a cultural perspective, I don't think it's wrong to say that certain values and actions that are being taken over like, you know, overall, not by every single person of any given group, but just by a lot of people in certain ones can obviously like lead to people having issues with that group in general, just because of the behavior they've come to expect. And that behavior itself can be bad and can be something that needs to be, you know, not happening actively so that we can just kind of get along better and, you know, just have some more like, you know, civilized interactions. I mean, and I don't think that's exclusive to any, you know, necessarily exclusive to any one group, you know, out of many, but statistics are a thing. And I think that's why people are sort of, you know, saying like they're pattern recognizers and everything.
The thing is, you wouldn't get to a point like this where you have such a visceral reaction if the exact same thing wasn't already happening for the past 10 or 20 years already. So again, it kind of just goes back to the whole point is like a divide and conquer type thing. And if I'm going to be quite frank, I mean, if the government wanted to impose some kind of thing that ordinarily would be met with a lot of resistance, the easiest thing to do would be dividing the nation amongst things that really aren't an issue, at least for the most part. And that's kind of what's happening now. So that's all I'll say on that.
Yeah. And, you know, like, okay. And just not to get specific or get, you know, like make any specific point
Please
that may
don't.
be seen as,
Please don't.
you know, it's not exactly what you're thinking either, but I'm just saying that race relations are worse now than even at other points in somewhat recent history. That is to say more that the condition has worsened, that we're seeing more of the behavior that, you know, is a problem. And you would think that if there were points in which this wasn't an issue, that it's not an intrinsic thing, but it definitely is that can be influenced by other things. We're not going to, you know, cause and effect of all that, but I'm just saying that, you know, it's possible for it is possible, and it's happened for, I mean, people of different races to get along. Okay, it's possible. It's not that, you know, we can't do that, but it's becoming worse for whatever reason. I'm just not going to go into it, but that is to say that like we don't have to get to the point where it's like you know, the solution is some really I guess extreme thing that would be seen as targeting every single person of the group that we're thinking about right now, as far as, you know, just like black people or something like that, you know.
Yeah. I'm just saying, you always have to ask yourself too, in these kinds of things, who would benefit the most from two outside parties getting upset with each other? That's really what I'm saying here.
So yeah, exactly. I'm all I'm saying, it's I don't think white people or black people are really to blame, is all I'm saying, man. Like, you know, I'm not a racist.
Really? I thought I saw you go pretty fast last time. You hit a record last time. You like cracked triple digits from what I recall, legally, of course.
Well, anyway. But yeah.
Do we have anything else, or
so
do you want to keep going on that?
Let me see here. Oh yeah. No, what I have here. what I have here for us is the guy that swiped 2 million times in 5 years. Astronomical levels of swiping. I mean, that seems unrealistic, but he did it.
He is
Okay?
not swiper.
He somehow
He kept
accomplished that.
swiping.
Let's see. Okay, so this guy swiped 2 million times in 5 years. Now he has a fish photo there. So, I mean, possibly a factor people were saying. And he's a bigger gentleman, you know, and he's not in the best shape. But to have swiped 2,058,473 times, to only have swiped left 38,014 times out of that, you know, total swipes, he swiped almost every time right. He only got 2,053 matches. What a small percentage. And out of that, only a little over half of those, 1,269, turned into chats. Out of 1,269 chats, one turned into a date. And that did not turn into relationship or casual sex. Is bro cooked? I was waiting for an answer on that.
Okay.
Legit.
I thought
But
that was rhetorical.
you know,
Well, it sounds like this man needs a passport.
coming soon. You'll see.
Foreshadowing.
Those who know. Those who know.
Those who know indeed.
Okay. So, I mean, okay. Those people who are saying it's something with his looks, to have swiped over 2 million times, and have only gotten one date. Okay. At least, okay. If you're going to say it's about his chatting, if it's something wrong with the way he talks, that would be 1,200 of those cases about 1,270 cases, 1,269 cases out of the 20,000 or not 20,000, 2,053 matches. So what, I mean, okay. And even if you could say, oh, well, you know, him chatting once is what counts as a match. It doesn't mean like, you know, and the responses are the 1,269 and it's just bad approach. Okay. Well, why did he only get 2,053 matches out of over 2 million still? Right. So, I mean, okay, you can say, okay, it's the fish photo or okay, you know, whatever. But if your claim is it's because he's, you know, out of shape. Okay. Yeah. Obviously less women like guys that are out of shape, but are you telling me that out of 2 million women, he only has that many looks matches? You're only telling me he has 2,000 women that are looks matched with him on Tinder? I mean, I get when I go on Tinder, I see good looking women. Like, you know, I don't see like a lot of physiognomies. I've seen some on different apps that I don't ever see in public. They're like that weird looking. They're that weird looking that it's like, dude, what? I've never even seen a person that looks like this. It's crazy. But on Tinder, I don't see that. And so here's the thing. You know, I'm thinking that there has to be a higher percentage of women, you know, on Tinder in general than what he got, or at least even in the relevant area and age group that are looks matched with him. Like, you know, you think there's only that few that actually, there are plenty unattractive women. I don't understand, like, you know, so, I mean, I'm sure there's some like average looking women or a little bit below average that he could go out with and you wouldn't even think twice about. So if that is the case, then why is he not getting those matches? Why is that not being reflected? Well, I mean, first of all, let me pull up a different tweet on this. Let me pull up a different tweet because somebody asked, time to play devil's advocate. Put yourself in the shoes of a woman. Would you date this man? And Bizlet, who initially tweeted this, I guess he's bringing it back, but he quote tweeted that and he said, well, I mean, if you look like this, and he showed an image of a woman that he thinks is looks matched with the guy. So okay. So you take a look at this woman and it's like, yeah, I mean, if I saw this woman With this guy, it's not the weirdest thing in the world. Find plenty of women that would looks matched with this man. You can find plenty of women that looks matched with the average man. But the average man, a woman to begin with, or one that is like looks matched with him. You know, she might actually even look worse. Why is that? Let's see. Let's see what Oracle is saying in the comments first. Let's take a look. I just want to, get some viewer commentary before I continue. But 2 million, Tinder and all those apps promote all the worst portions of dating. 2 million is fucking large. This is proof this shit does not work. I mean, yeah, specifically for men though, because I mean, women are going to get the matches. It's up to them whether they want to meet up on there. They could. It's not to say that they'll find necessarily like relationships that, are successful or that they want to be in. They can find that too, but it's a lot more likely that the guys want to go out and, have sex. But that's sort of part of it where, they're still able to do that. They're still able to be more selective with that than, this guy, for example, who gets one date, right? You hear stories about women where they're like, oh yeah, I'm going on my second date tonight. There was one that was even like, oh, I told that to one of my dates and he didn't like it. It's like, well, fuck, of course he didn't. But okay, so he says he is not even bad looking. He is a normal guy. He's a little overweight, but yeah, he's not like, I don't look at him. He does have a negative cantal tilt I'm seeing there. Yeah, kind of, but it's not like I would see this guy, especially from like this distance, maybe not. I don't know if this picture does him justice. I don't know. Maybe I don't know, but he's not like, man, that guy's a freak. I'm not looking at him and thinking that. So, I mean, how could there be any woman out there that's with him? I mean, of course, like I was saying, like, there is a looks match out there for him, right?
You don't think
and so
a freak off?
Well, I don't think I'd see him in a freak off. No.
Oh, okay.
He doesn't look like a freak, right? And
I'm inclined to agree.
And he probably isn't appealing enough to men that want to see freaks. I wouldn't think that either. So I don't think he'd be in any freak off.
This guy?
I don't think Diddy would want this guy. No, he's not young enough either. So he says, the Oracle, shit like this makes the gender divide online worsen. We need to promote getting out there and fucking talking with people. That's exactly how I met my girlfriend. This situation is ridiculous. Well, the thing about like that is like society in general has become, and I mean, this is just kind of like, more so not really the guys that are, I would say as much like, their cause. But it's more so there's like a bigger stigma against approaching people in general, actually, even just starting conversations with people, it seems to be less common. But even just like talking with women, it seems like, there's been a stigma where it's like, oh, well, that's kind of creepy. But it's specifically like, if you're not like Chad, if you're not Chad, then it's creepy. But yeah, so I mean, like, there are definitely issues with that itself. And honestly, if you look at how people are meeting, I mean, we could obviously promote this, but if we're just looking at how people are meeting, increasingly so, it's been actually through dating online. And so when you see that, if that's how people are getting to know each other and you're not succeeding in that realm, you're not succeeding in what is now a majority of the way people meet each other. And the other methods like through friend groups and school, and those are decreasing. So, if you're not on this and you're not doing well, it's kind of not looking the best unless you got a passport coming soon. So I mean, obviously it is ridiculous what we're looking at, but like, how does one as an individual, rather than as saying we need to promote something, how does one as an individual right now navigate through this? It seems kind of difficult. It seems like, I don't know if I could really give advice to this guy to say, this is how you do it. If you are doing it, I don't know. And he says, this guy is a fool for continuing to use the service. I mean, it seems like he was trying to get some sort of, data from this, from what I can tell, from my understanding. I don't know if that was his express goal from the beginning, but clearly he did. So he gave some valuable information at least. But yeah, I wouldn't keep using it if I were him and these were my results. That would definitely be foolish. After 5 years and these were my results, it would not be a good option, especially not Tinder. If that's where you're seeing all the lack of success, and maybe there was like some other like official dating website, like, I don't know, Match.com or whatever these websites are. I couldn't think of many. Maybe if he's got like some Christian one, I don't know. Maybe that might be good for him. I feel like that, you get more of a niche there, as well as just like less, I mean, it's
I've
not like you're going to
heard-
guarantee less of like this behavior, but you're at least going to increase your odds.
I've heard success stories from Bumble and Hinge.
Yeah, more so than Tinder, right? Like who gets
Yeah.
like dates from Tinder, really, right?
You get at best a quick one. That's if you
Well,
get
he included quick one in the categories here. But you know, that was below date. So he had to go on the date first to see if he got the quick one, I guess.
valid. I just kind of fell out of my chair.
Nice. So yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, the fish photo obviously doesn't help. I would like to see one where it isn't a fish photo. Can we get a guy to go on Tinder for 5 years and not have a fish photo now? Can we see that? Like, can we meet back up in 2030 and be like, did it work? Also, dude, your camera's black
Valid.
again. I don't understand like what's going on.
I don't know, dude. I'm not. It's what it is at this point.
Okay, fair enough. Don't make me say it.
I'm not making you do anything.
But because you're black now in here. I mean, I see you there. Like, you're literally entirely black.
You're calling me a rapper?
No, I didn't. When did I say that?
It seems like that's what you're insinuating.
I mean, I could think of another word, but I'm not going to say that right now.
Whoa.
Darker than my screen. That's the word. But anyway, have you seen that one where it's like they do like the fill in the blank ones and it's like a picture of people doing stuff and you're like, wait a minute. It's like maybe a guy with a pickaxe.
Yeah.
There's just like, yeah, exactly. Like stuff like that. Yeah. Don't fall for
runner.
it. Don't fall for it, folks. Runner, yeah.
Sure.
But anyway, guys, we've had a good stream here. I mean, we've talked about Trump and Israel. That's usually a more touchy topic, but we're able to talk about this when it comes to just sort of reporting more of the facts, not perhaps not giving as much commentary as we naturally would, but perhaps at least just giving you guys the news here, just talking about what's going on in the world. I mean, we should be able to do that at least. And maybe expressing some concerns at the very least. I mean, especially when it comes to fucking kids dying and people being like, persecuted for what they say about this situation. I mean, that should obviously just be things that you're able to say outright. But yeah. And then what else did we talk about here? We talked about cultured moments, and we talked about Tinder. I mean, honestly, Mr. Turk, who has been on the show before, a Turkish guy, a Turkish lad, he has talked about considering opening up his own account to use for this. So if we can get him back on, we may be able to see what it's like as a Turk on Tinder or some other account. But anyway.
Oh, on Tinder. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Let's see. The Oracle, it's been real. Hope I can catch you guys next time for sure, man. And we'll be on next Thursday. Hopefully 6:30, if not 7, something like that. I mean, that's
having you on.
It's been good. It's been real. This has been coming at you live. Passport coming soon. The podcast.
The podcast ever.
The podcast ever.
Midas.